Appreciate it.
Echo on both of our ends from your microphone, Cap.
From my microphone? All right,
Yeah.
hold on. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me come back over here. I don't know why my computer picked today to move a little slow. Let me show advanced options. Um, I don't know. So right now I have noise suppression on and echo cancellation on. Let me see if I turn this on. But if you can give me a one, if y'all can hear me, I'm trying to just make sure I connect to the brothers live stream. Let me click this again. Let me bring this over here this way. And what I'm doing now is I'm just setting up to see if, oh wait, I might not have had the right speakers. Maybe that'll do it. Let's see now. Virtual background, got my virtual background. Now let's see now. Hey, I'm good, man. Let me know if how it's sounding now. Yeah, yeah, the output usually it defaults to my Rode, but it didn't default, so it's using the wrong microphone.
So, quick little thing for you guys. So, I sent both of you guys the format of the debate. We're gonna have a 4-minute max opening statements. I'll be timing it. I'll give you guys a 30-second warning when it's getting down to, when it's at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll let you guys know. I'll just say 30 seconds left. And then from there, we'll do 2 minutes for arguments and 2 minutes for responses. So if Captain, state a point, you got 2 minutes to speak, and then, Jay will get to respond for 2 minutes, and we'll do that for 16 minutes total. Then it's just going to go over to open dialogue for 45 minutes back and forth. Okay. Right after that, then we're going to do closing statements for 4 minutes max. And if we need to extend anything, so if it gets a little hostile and stuff like that, you guys talking over one another, one of you can request for back to 1 minute or 2 minutes statements, a time rebuttals. You can request that and I'll go ahead and adhere to it and we'll do it that way. You guys want to stay for super chats and things of that sort or no?
I'm good.
You're good? What about you, Cap?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Okay, so we'll tackle the super chats at the end. Other than that, man, I'll start off with I'm not even playing my intro, right? Forget No Fugazi intro. This is for you guys. So I'm just gonna open it up. I'm just gonna say, hey, welcome to No Fugazi podcast. And then I'm gonna bring one of you on. I'm gonna bring both of you on a stage at the same time. So we're gonna get right down to it.
Okay.
All right, man. I'll go ahead and put you guys backstage and we'll get started.
All right.
Right.
Hey guys, so he's just so y'all know, he's about to start the live stream. It's gonna be between myself and Jay Dyer. He's an Orthodox Christian. Should be interesting to see how this goes. Of course, make sure you thumb up the video. Be greatly appreciated to help the algorithm. You can give your super chat. If y'all super chat a question, I'll see if I get Fugazi to actually answer the question on his live. But if you super chat the question and it doesn't get asked on No Fugazi's podcast, I'll answer it when this debate is over.
Welcome to No Fugazi podcast. I am your host, Cooley. Tonight, we have a special debate tonight. We have Captain Tazaryach, a Hebrew Israelite, versus Jay Dyer, a Christian Orthodox. Let's hop right into it. We're not even playing my intro. Let's hop right into it.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right, fellas. Welcome to No Fugazi podcast, both of you brothers. So backstage, we went ahead and went over the format of the debate. For the audience, let me go ahead and give that to you guys as well. So the format and the title of this debate is going to be, is Christian Orthodoxy true? Jay Dyer will be defending his position against Captain Tazaryach, a Hebrew Israelite. The format of the debate is going to be 4-minute opening statements with 2 minutes for arguments and responses. So that's going to be timed. We're going to do that for 16 minutes. Right after that is done, we're going to move over to open dialogue of 45 minutes back and forth, blood sport debate. And then we're going to do 4-minute closing statements. After that, we'll go ahead and I'll read the super chats and get you guys' perspective on the debate. So since I do believe Jay will be taking the affirmative position, we normally allow the people that takes the affirmative position to go first, but Captain, are you okay with that?
Yeah, however you wanted to go, I'm fine.
Okay, Jay, that's cool with you?
It is. Remind me explicitly what the proposition was. Or was it phrased?
Yes. Is Christian Orthodoxy true?
Okay. Right. So if we want to say Christian Orthodoxy is true, then we would want to know if it lines up with the historic promises written in the Old Testament prophecies about a time coming when the Gentile nations would worship together with the ancient Hebrew people, the God of Israel. We have passages, for example, Isaiah 60, 1 through 3, Isaiah 60, 11 and 12, Isaiah 42, 12, Jeremiah 3, 14 to 18, Hosea 1, 10 to 11, Malachi 1, 10 to 11, Joel 3, Isaiah continues in many other passages. I'm just giving these as examples. Many of the Psalms, for example, David writes in Psalm 44, Psalm 17 or 18, depending upon which, whether using Masoretic or the Septuagint, Psalm 22, Psalm 28, Psalm 56, Psalm 68, 8, Psalm 59, 9 and 10, etc. Dozens and dozens and dozens of passages in the Old Testament predict an era that when the Messiah comes, the Gentile nations will begin to come in and convert. In fact, latter Isaiah even prophesies that Gentile kings and queens will come and present gifts and offerings to the Messiah. In Daniel 2, we have a prediction that when the Messiah comes, it will be in the empire under which this final stage of the destruction of Jerusalem, if you compare that with Daniel 9, 24 to 27, occurs, that the Messiah will be present when the temple administration is done, and that the Messiah will set up a kingdom at his first advent that will grow and conquer all of the other kingdoms and nations. Again, that's Daniel 2, in the prophecy of the stone that's cut out without hands that destroys all of those other kingdoms. We know from the New Testament in many places, such as Matthew 1, Romans 1, those all describe the fact that Luke 1 and 2 as well, that when the Messiah came, who was Jesus Christ, he is the fulfillment of all of those Old Testament prophecies, and the idea that the Gentile nations will begin to pour into this newly founded spiritual Israel, aka what Paul calls in Galatians 16, the Israel of God, that it would set up, that he would set up a kingdom, Matthew 16 to 18, and in Matthew 18, 18, that the apostles would have a rulership in this kingdom. These apostles are also spoken of in the book of Matthew as being the progenitors of a new Israel, which would open its doors to the Gentile nations. When we read the book of Acts, as the church is empowered after Pentecost, fulfilling Joel 3 in Acts 2, we have the disciples opening it up, the kingdom again there, to the Gentile nations. This is a fulfillment of all of these Old Testament prophecies, and a fulfillment of the fact that in Matthew, Jesus says that the Gentile nations will come and sit down with the prophets, with Abraham and Moses, and they will dine together in the kingdom. This is a covenantal meal. This is the New Testament Eucharistic liturgy and meal that is set up, wherein Jesus rules in his church through that marriage supper of the Lamb, which is the Orthodox divine liturgy. That is a culmination that's written of in the book of Revelation that we actually celebrate on a weekly basis in the Orthodox Church. The Orthodox Church, thus, from the earliest days of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th centuries, all the way through those early councils, maintains the exact same doctrine that the apostles and their immediate successors held to. Thus, if the church, the kingdom that's set up in the first 7 centuries after the advent of the Messiah, believes and teaches what we teach, and we can go verify that very easily, very quickly when we read
you got 30, Jay.
Post-apostolic fathers like Cyprian, like Irenaeus, like Athanasius and others. They all teach the same thing as the Orthodox Church. Thus, the Orthodox Church is a fulfillment of all of those Old Testament prophecies, and the Black Hebrew Israelite cult, which is a recent invention, could in no way possibly be a fulfillment of any of them.
All right. Time, right on time. All right, Cap, I went ahead and reset the timer for you. Once you start speaking, I'll start.
Birdman hands rubbing together. Christian orthodoxy, right? Christian or Orthodox Christians believe a lot of things that I disagree with. The gentleman spent, I think, all of his time speaking about Gentile salvation, meaning non-Israelites. That's something that we as the Hebrew Israelites or Israelites, we don't really use the term Black Hebrew Israelites, refer to as replacement theology. The one thing that Christ said in John 8:32, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And he said, he that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said. And what we know of the church fathers is, number one, they did not agree. They didn't agree on the divinity of Christ. They didn't agree on circumcision. They didn't agree on the law. They didn't agree on a lot of things. So the church fathers cannot have more authority than the Bible. And nowhere in the Bible are you going to see non-Israelites are going to be saved. In the same book of Daniel, it says the saints shall take the kingdom. In Isaiah 60, my opponent made it seem like the kings is going to be calmly and nicely bringing gifts. No, they're going to do it by force, because in his wrath, he smite us, but in his mercy, he gave us power. So there's a way that you take power. In Jeremiah 51:20, it says, with Israel is my battle axe. With it, I will break in pieces the nations. So I know Christians, they like to make it seem like Christ is coming back to bring cookies and ice cream, but he is not. He's not coming here to bring fluff. He's coming here to bring war. In Revelations, the 19th chapter, it says on his head, in his hand was many crowns. That means he's taking crowns from kings. Christians also butcher Christ by making him God, which is also not in the Bible. When I'm saying God, to be specific, I'm talking about the Most High God. Trinity is not in the Bible. Church fathers didn't even agree on that. They argued on that. When they make it seem like these councils was good things, these councils was not good things. These councils were sometimes violent. People were put in prison. All of these things took place in the council. So I have no respect for church fathers, none whatsoever, because the disciples did not put anybody in prison. The disciples did not do anything. They reasoned, worked it out, but nobody had to be punished or cut off from it. So in this discussion that I'm going to have with this gentleman, I'll show non-Israelites do not make it into the kingdom of heaven in the same state that the Israelites make it in, because contrary to what people believe, Hebrew Israelite is younger than Christianity in the sense of what we know it today in America. But as far as us knowing we was Israelites, that goes back to the 1800s up until now. But historically, Harriet Tubman and the family always bring that up because we have her family in our school. They always knew that they was Israelites. So to say that Black people didn't know they was Israelites during slavery, that's also a lie. But that's not necessarily the subject. When they talk about Christ's birth, they'll tell you that God made Mary pregnant. I don't see a prophecy in the Bible where God is going to make a woman pregnant to deliver the king of Israel, but I can read in the Bible that it says through the seed of David that the king of Israel would come. But the Christian church, I'm pretty sure Jay, if he's Orthodox Christian, those are the things that they believe. So we are diametrically opposed to everything about Christianity. When they use the word church in the New Testament, that's just a Greek word for congregation in the Old
Cap,
Testament.
you got 30.
That's just a Greek translation of congregation in the Old Testament. So what I'm assuming I'll be presenting in this argument with my opponent is that Orthodox Christian, as well as every other Christianity, does not teach the word of God. I'll land right there.
All right, just in time, both of you fellas. Okay, so let's hop right into the 2 minutes back and forth. Who wants to go first? Who wants to go ahead and present their position and then have the other person give a rebuttal?
Well, I'll begin my rebuttal with, because he gave his statement.
Got it. So I'll start your 2 minutes once you start speaking.
All right. So first of all, I would say that he claims that what he believes is older than Christianity. I would like eventually to get some source or citation on anybody having the exact beliefs of his sect prior to the 1800s. So I want something between the time of what he thinks the Old Testament taught, or in the time of the apostles, or all the way up until the 1800s, because Jesus said his kingdom would not fail, that it would not collapse, that the gates of hell would not prevail against it. And so if there's over 1,000, almost 2,000 years where there's nothing anywhere, anything like this cult's view, then he's failed to demonstrate that. He said the kingdom of God comes as, he says, Jesus comes taking crowns and it's warfare. But then he said the ecumenical councils were, quote, violent. Well, you just said violence isn't bad. And then you tried to say that if an ecumenical council has people slapping or fighting, that's bad, that's violent, that's a contradiction. He said the New Testament doesn't have people being cut off, doesn't have people dying. When Peter walks up to Ananias and Sapphira, he pronounces that they died because of their heresy, and they died. The kingdom of God, according to Christ, is within. It does not come with open signs and open destruction and power, in the sense of his disciples primarily being zealots that would fight. This is Jesus rebuking the zealots that he had as followers. And he said that Jesus isn't God, even though John 1 says that the Word, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. And Hebrews 1 links that to the creation of the world. The Son,
30 seconds.
The Son in Hebrews 1 is said to be the creator of all things that have a beginning and have existence. Well, if Jesus is created, then he would not be classed as the thing that creates all things. And so Hebrews 1 is a very easy way. John 1 is a very easy way to see that everything he said was total nonsense.
All right, time. Cap, I'll start whenever you start speaking.
Yeah, listening is an art, and my opponent doesn't listen. When I said the disciples did not put anybody in prison, I'm talking about amongst themselves. I'm not talking about their enemies. But in those councils, that they did have wars with each other because they did not agree. Listening is an art. When he asks if anybody followed my cult is short for culture. And the culture of the Bible is exactly where we get it from. When we say that it's only for Israel, because Christ said, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. When we say it's only for Israel, Christ sent his disciples to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So unless my opponent can show that the disciples gathered all of the lost sheep of the house of Israel, they're about the same cult that I am in. The church fathers lie and say that they went to somebody else. Christ gave direct orders. Paul said, so all Israel shall be saved as it is written. He didn't say all nations shall be saved as it is written. And my opponent will not show a verse that says all nations will be saved as it is written. He cannot show that. In John 1:1, anybody can read the Greek text and know that the last part of that, when it says in the beginning was the word and the word was with God and the word was God, in the Greek, it would say, and God was the word, emphasizing power, because a man can be God and not God in the sense of the Most High, because we can read where God called Moses a God. And then he referenced Hebrews 1, which I wouldn't have done, because
30 seconds, Cap.
in Hebrews 1, it says, in the past, he spoke to us by the prophets, but in this time, God spoke to us by the Son. So if God says he spoke to us by the Son, my opponent can't say the Son is God, because God ain't talking to himself. I land right there.
All right. Right on time. Jay, whenever you start, I'll start.
So again, like, this is funny because he doesn't seem to be aware that Ananias and Sapphira were disciples. They were in the church and they were pronounced to be of a wicked disposition, and then thus they were considered to be worthy by divine and thus by Petrine decree, in that case, to be worthy of death. So he has no idea what Acts actually teaches or says. Second, I asked specifically if he has any evidence of anybody believing his position from the time of Christ up until the 1800s. He didn't give anything. He didn't listen to what I said either, because I said specifically that in Matthew 21:43, Jesus says to the Pharisees, the kingdom of God will be taken to you and given to a nation producing the fruits thereof. What is this nation of the New Testament? Well, Peter says in 1 Peter 2 that you, in the Catholic epistles to the Gentile converts who had converted in the book of Acts, chapter 10 and on, that they would be called a royal priesthood and a holy nation. The church in Galatians 6:16 is the new Israel. We are told, in fact, in the Psalms that in the Old Testament prophets were told that the knowledge of the Lord would cover the earth as the sea covers the water. So that's a universal scope. In Romans 15:16, Paul quotes these same prophets to describe the church at Rome, which was Gentile and Jewish converts together, as the new Israel and the fulfillment of these Old Testament prophecies that I listed in my opening statement. So again, Romans 15:16 teaches this.
30.
In Hebrews 1, it's a play on John 1 in the sense of the creation of the world. Hebrews 1 says that to the Son, the Father as God says, you sit thou at my right hand, God, your throne is forever. So God is a generic reference, and Black Hebrew Israelites don't understand grammar, so they don't understand that words can refer to different things. In the scriptures, the word God picks out deities, it picks out person, it picks out nature, it picks out energy, and it can even pick out humans and demons.
All right, Cap, you go. He went 5 seconds over, so I'll give you a little bit of time left over too. Go ahead, Cap.
No problem. I answered his questions directly. When he asked about my cult, I showed Paul was in my cult. He didn't respond. Paul said, so all Israel shall be saved. And then I challenged him to say, where does it say all nations will be saved? And he did not. James is in my cult. James' letter, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. That's my cult, because anybody reading the letter of James that are not the 12 tribes, that letter is not for you. First Peter's 1 and 2, because he brought up Peter. First Peter's 1 and 1 rather says the addresses the letter, who he's talking to, and then it says, because it says to the strangers scattered through Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of God the Father and the sanctification of the Spirit unto the obedience of the sprinkling of the blood of Jesus Christ. The strangers that are in those lands are the elect. The elect are the children of Israel, because God never elected another nation. Paul says this in Romans the 9th chapter. In Romans the 9th chapter, Paul says, if you're not from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are not a son of God. So when he asked me to show people during Christ's time up until now, I've shown it. What he's talking about is when the church fathers come later and then pollute it. They have polluted it up until this day, because he
30
can't
left.
show in the Bible, which is what I said, a direct verse that says all nations shall be saved. Like I can show a direct verse. Isaiah 45 and 17 says, Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. You shall not be ashamed nor confounded world. He can't show that by nation in the Bible. I challenge him. I land.
All right. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, this is simple. In Genesis 12, 15, 17, and 22, Abraham is given a promise that in his seed, all the nations, all the tribes of the earth would be blessed. Again, the knowledge of the Lord would be as vast as the sand on the seashore. Isaiah, the Psalms. I'll quote Romans again because he doesn't understand the basics of Romans. In 15, Paul says that he was an apostle to the Gentile nations, to confirm both for the circumcision, that's the Jews, and the non-circumcised, that the Gentiles might glorify God for his mercy, as is written, I will confess to you amongst the Gentiles and sing to your name. And he says again in the prophets, rejoice, O Gentiles, together with his people, the Jews. And again, praise the Lord, you Gentiles. Laud him, all of you peoples. Paul is writing to a church at Rome, which had a significant problem of Jew and Gentile getting together and getting along in the worship of Christ. Thus, these passages show, as I said in my opening statement, that the fulfillment of the promises in the first century, for example, the Roman church, are exactly the way that I interpreted them. So the universal scope is in Genesis 12, 15, 17, 22, the promise to Abraham. It's in Romans 15. It's in Galatians 3, where Paul says the fulfillment of Genesis 12, 15, 17, 22 is in Christ and faith in Christ. The church at Galatia was a Gentile believing church. We have a succession of bishops after that believe all the same things that the Orthodox Church teaches. Now, I didn't say
30,
I didn't ask you at the time of Christ, do you think that James and Paul teach your cult view? I said, name somebody between the post-apostolic period, the time of Christ, the time of the Messiah, all the way up to the 1800s that teaches your cult view. I can't hear you.
Time. Cap, I'm ready when you are.
No problem. Again, I want everybody to pay attention. My challenges are not being answered as I answer his challenges. So I'll further answer his challenge. The reason why we say the 1800s, and when you start seeing visual representation of Black people identifying as Israelites, is in Daniel's, the 12th chapter, when it says, seal up the book until the end. And then when Christ said the kingdom of will be Matthew 24, when he says, when you see the abomination of desolation stand, when Israel fell, there was a silence of it. Daniel 12 and 4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end, and many shall run to and fro. That's the church fathers. They shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase their knowledge. But my questions aren't answered. Going to Genesis, the 12th chapter, is not what we're talking about, because we're not talking about a blessing. We're talking about the covenant. We're talking about salvation. And in the criteria of it, the criteria says, I will bless them that bless thee. So in order for another nation to even get blessed by us, they have to first bless us. And then it says, I will curse them that curse thee. So if that nation is cursing us, they can't get the blessing. That's why when Paul mentions it in Galatians, he's specific about the children of Israel, because he doesn't mention that the other nations have to bless us. He only uses the blessing. Example, Abraham wanted Ishmael to live. The Lord gave Ishmael a blessing, but he said, my covenant will I make with Isaac. He also didn't answer Romans the 9th chapter.
30
So
seconds.
He hasn't answered Romans 11 and 26, has not answered Romans the 9th chapter, hasn't answered any of that. And at the end of Galatians, it says that you are heirs according to the promise. So nobody has received the promise except the children of Israel. So I'm going to add another question. He still has not answered my questions. Where does it say the promise went to anybody except the children of Israel? Book, chapter, verse. I land.
All right, time. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, this is a fundamentally uneducated person. So he's not aware that when you read the Bible, you look at who the audience is of those letters. The church at Galatia is not a bunch of Hebrew Israelites. It's Gentile converts who are struggling with whether they need to undergo circumcision. And to answer his specific question about the promise, this is the covenant promise to Abraham, which Paul says explicitly, in Christ, you are all sons of God through faith in Christ. For if you are baptized into Christ, you have put him on. Thus, there is neither Jew nor Greek. Greek stands in for the nations. It doesn't matter. It's not just Greeks. It's anyone who converted to be baptized into Christ. And thus, if you are baptized, you are heirs of the promise, Galatians 4:1. So this is a fundamentally illiterate person. I did cite specifically text and verse, Romans 15, written to a church of Gentiles and Jews together believing in the Messiah, the church at Rome, specifically cites those Psalms that I had in my opening statement and those prophecies that the Gentile nations together would worship with the Messiah. In the book of Isaiah, God says, I will put my footstool, I will make Edom, I will make Egypt, I will make Syria my footstool and my house, and they will all together worship me. There will be an altar in Egypt to worship me. So this is an expansive, open
30
covenant.
left.
Matthew 21:43 says that the kingdom will be taken from the Jews and given to a nation producing the fruits thereof. When you read the book of Acts, the first 10 chapters are about the Jews rejecting the Messiah and that opening up to the Gentile nations. So again, he has not given a single person prior to 1800s, after the apostles. I know he thinks the apostles teach his view. There's nobody that teaches this cult view. So it's a restorationist sect, and all restorationist cults are defeated by the fact that Jesus said that his kingdom that he would set up as first advent cannot be destroyed.
Time. All right. Cap, he went 11 minutes over. This is the
11
Cap.
minutes?
Not 11. Not
11 seconds over. Sorry about that. 11 seconds. My bad. Cap, you have, I'll give you 11 seconds over as well. But also, this is going to close out the back end, the timed back and forth. Right after you respond, Cap, we're going to get into open dialogue.
Okay, no problem. I just want to point out in this whole dialogue, he has not answered one of my questions with a book, chapter, verse. I said, show where a nation can be saved by book, chapter, verse. He has not shown it. I showed a show where a nation is a part of this covenant outside of Israel. He has not shown it. But what he does do is what the church fathers did. They make Greek, and he said, although it says Greek, that goes to everybody. So he can give a breakdown of Greek to make everybody, but he can't show a verse that says it's for everybody. Greek and Gentile is not synonymous to the original Greeks, and Gentile just means nation by definition. Israel is a Gentile by nation. Genesis 25:3, when it says two nations are in a womb, Israel is a Gentile. Genesis 48:18, it calls Ephraim a Gentile. Jacob in Genesis 35:11 is told he would be a multitude of Goyim, which is word the word Gentile means. So it's prophesied that Jacob would be, that he would become a multitude of nations, or a multitude of Gentiles, or a multitude of Goyim. So you can't use the word Gentile and make it synonymous. So if I go to Hebrews 8:8 New Testament, it says, I will make a new covenant with the house of Judah, with the house of Israel. Why doesn't it say with the house of everybody? If my opponent says it's for everybody. So if the Bible says the New Testament is only for the house of Israel, house of Judah, then he's a liar. According to the Bible says, let God be true and every man a liar. And since he spoke about Paul, I'll take my
30
last
seconds.
minute. Romans 9:4, who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption, the glory. So he can't say Paul is writing to anybody else, because Paul said only the Israelites pertain to adoption. Romans 9:8 says that is, the children of the flesh are not the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. So if you can't show a book, chapter, verse that another nation is the children of the promise, then they are not the children of God. I dare you to do it. I dare you. I'm done.
All right. That close out the 2-minute back and forth rebuttals. Let's hop right into the open dialogue for 45 minutes. Gentlemen, one mic at a time. Try to have some decorum. I'll come in if I need to, but if not, you guys aren't going to hear from me. You guys are professionals. So let's hop right into it. I think that since Cap, you had the last response, Jay, kick it off for us.
Yeah, can you name anybody after the time of the apostles up to the 1800s that taught your cult view?
Harriet Tubman's whole family knew that they were Israelites.
Between the 1800s.
Well, slavery started in the 1600s. If you allow me to finish, you would have heard. Thank you. So Harriet Tubman's family, when I say family, it was passed down from the time that they came over here from Africa, from the Ashanti tribe. When they came over here, they had their tradition of knowing they were Israelites up until this day. I have Captain DeBar Moth in my school that's from that family. He already knew he was an Israelite. So I know they like to believe that we didn't know that we was Israelites, but we knew that we was Israelites coming off of them ships.
So your citation is from a family legend that Harriet Tubman in the 1800s supposedly had. I'm asking for anybody from the time of the Messiah, after the apostles, up to the prior to the 1800s, who taught what your cult teaches. Anybody?
Well, I already showed from the time of the Messiah by using the Bible, which trumps anything that you or I would say.
No, Jesus said.
I just want to finish. I just want to finish the answer in the middle of answering the question. I just want to finish.
In the 7th,
the only person that has not laughed while the other person spoke was me. The only one that has not chuckled while the other spoke was me. And the only person that has not interrupted the other is me.
And you.
So I just want to, can I finish answering? Can I?
This is not a cross exam.
No problem. So I'm glad you. I'm glad.
Okay, gentlemen, let me go ahead and create a little decorum.
I'm interrogating.
Cap,
you're not interrogating anybody. When you a Fugazi, he can't say he interrogated. This is an open.
Yeah, it's open back and forth, and he was just asking a clarifying. He was giving a clarifying rebuttal to his question. Yeah, that's all he was given.
And all I was saying, if he would have just been quiet, I would have explained. Because
okay, fair enough. Jay, do you mind yielding so Cap can just land his plane?
Thank you. Again, I'm wanting a specific person after the apostles up to the 1800s.
I'm giving you Harriet Tubman and her family, and I even said
1800s.
I even said that is not
prior to the 1800s.
Prior to the 1800s. When they was in the west coast of Africa in the Ashanti tribe, they knew that they were Israelites. So when they came off the slave ships, so
what's the source for that?
I just told you, it's the oral tradition. We have them in our family. And if I'm not mistaken, all throughout the Bible, before we got the laws of Moses, you know what they had? The oral tradition.
Oh, interesting.
That's not. Is that not true? Did they not have oral tradition before Moses wrote the law?
Well, the oral tradition is actually.
I'm asking a question. Yes or no? Did they
have
oral
tradition? Is what put the Bible together.
Did they have oral tradition before Moses wrote the law down? Yes or no?
Yeah, but there's actual.
So we can't negate. And what happens a lot of times is black people can't have oral tradition that matters. But we do.
There are actual historical academic sources that point to the oral tradition back.
You can go into the colleges.
You can go. You have no academic.
You can go into the colleges in Louisiana.
If you cite an academic or scholarly source.
You can go to the college. Well, I don't need.
Hey, fellas, for the audience purpose, can you just can you allow one another to land their plane? So, Jay, just finish the last statement and then Cap respond to that.
And then,
right. So again, we've not heard any actual. He asked me to finish.
Yeah, Cap. But let him. Cap. Let him just.
No, I wanted to ask you a question before he spoke. I wasn't trying to interrupt him.
Sure.
What I'm asking is because this is not him just grilling me. So after he asked the question and I answered, I want to know. I want to make sure I'm not rude when I switch the question and ask him a question. Like, how long do we stay on his
That's question? Fine. Fair question, Cap. Basically, if you guys can answer one another questions, I'm keeping track of this the best that I can. He's asking questions, a specific question, so he's just looking for an answer. This is why he keeps restating.
No,
Yeah.
Cooley, I get that part. He's not satisfied with my answer. I get that part. What I'm just simply asking is, and this goes for both of
It's
us.
not an answer.
How long do we stay on either one of our questions before he gets to then ask me and I vice versa? Like, I
Yeah.
don't
So
wanna
once
spend
again,
30
Cap,
minutes on this one
it's just
subject.
I stopped the clock right here because we're having just a meta conversation about the
Right.
debate. So once again, it's just open dialogue, Cap. I'm letting you
saying I
guys
can
go.
sit
This
at any
is
point. So you're saying I can get to my own
so.
question at any point?
Let's just be good faith. If he
That's why
asks
I'm
you a
asking you.
question,
Right.
yep, I got you, Cap. So let's be good faith. If he asks you a question, reply back, answer his question. If you then want to ask him a question, totally fine. But we have to allow one another room to reply back to questions
Correct. I
and to
agree.
give rebuttals and everything else.
No, I do
So
agree with
let's
that.
go back to Jay. Jay, go ahead and restate your position, and then Cap, you get to respond.
Right. So referring to an oral tradition allegedly that Harriet Tubman said, which again, I'd like some source, some academic scholarly citation on as to the pedigree of this, is not an answer to somebody between the time frame of the post-apostolic period to the 1800s. So he can't do that because his cult didn't exist. It's a new made-up restorationist cult.
I mean, that's fine to say that it's made up, and I don't have to prove.
Okay. Debate's over then.
I don't have to prove that. Well, the debate title is about Orthodox Christianity, not about what Black Israelites said they were
But
Israelites
the
in the
argument is that
1800s.
in
So I
those
just want to be
centuries,
able to finish again.
they were Orthodox in those centuries.
So but that's not.
Go ahead, Jay. Let him just land his plane.
Is not. Thank you. I'm glad somebody being unbiased. So that's not the debate title. The debate title is Orthodox Christianity True. That's the actual debate title. So when you actually look up, if you want to go scholar, anybody can look up Frank Cherry, William Saunders. You can look these people up, and they all carried that tradition. So now I just named two other people. So that's three different people: Harriet Tubman, Frank Cherry, William Saunders. All
from the 1800s.
All had the tradition.
So nobody prior to
and the key thing about him saying 1800s, because that's when they decided to put a timestamp on it. What I'm talking about is oral tradition coming off the slave ships.
Okay.
Even to this day, you'll see people from the Yoruba tribe, the Igbo tribe, the Ashanti tribe that will tell you that the people taken on them slave ships were Israelites. I can't help it if academia doesn't respect it. So that's why I yield to.
So there's no historian.
That's why I
nobody
yield.
Who has this.
That's
right?
why I yield to the oral tradition. Now I will ask you a question. Do you have a book, chapter, verse? If I read Romans, the 9th chapter, and Romans, the 9th chapter says, this is Romans 9:4, who are Israelites to whom pertain the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the services of God, and the promises. Paul said that the Israelites pertain and own the promises and the adoption. Can you show a book, chapter, verse where another nation by name also owns the adoption and the promises?
Yeah, if you read chapter 11, he says that the Gentiles are grafted into that very promise that you just mentioned.
That's not answering my question.
It is. It's a specific, direct answer to your stupid ass question.
The answer to my question is, and again, that's, you see my opponent?
You see Romans 9.
There's only one person professional here,
11.
because at the end of Romans 11:26, it says, so all Israel shall be saved. That was not my question. My question is,
the church is
show me another nation by name that gets adopted and have the promises, because if Paul says in Romans 9:4, who are Israelites to pertain means own. So they own adoption, glory, covenants.
I'm going to answer.
So
you're just yapping.
Okay, yeah, Cap, let him answer. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's give a book
chapter in Romans 11.
They got him.
Stop yapping and let me answer your dumbass question. In Romans 11, he says,
get out your feelings.
He won't shut up. So this
I know you're not talking about somebody shutting up. I know you're not talking.
All right, Cap. I think it's fair now. Cap, I think it's fair. Y'all both had it.
He doesn't understand debates.
And I expect you to stop it from him going forward
people in interrogations, dude.
That's right, but you crying about it.
Cap, come on. Let's yield the floor. You asked them a question, Cap. Let them answer. Go ahead.
Romans 11, Paul says, I do not desire that you would be ignorant of this mystery, lest you be wise in your own opinion. That blindness has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles comes in.
What verse you reading?
Romans 11, 25. Until the fullness of the Gentiles comes in.
You said Romans 11 and 25 you're reading, right? So now, the word Gentile because like, I want everybody to know he did not answer my question. I told him to show me about Gentile. Do we agree Gentiles means nation? Yes or no?
It's a general term that can refer to a specific proper nation, or it can refer to all nations. I know that grammar is hard for you. I know grammar is hard for you.
Can it refer to Israelites as well?
It can be proper or it can be general.
Can it refer to Israelites as well?
The word nation could refer to any nation, including Israel.
That's not what I asked you. Thank you. So
including Israel.
Thank you. So when we see the word Gentile, we can't make that mean a non-Israelite or an Israelite.
In this passage, it's contrasting the two.
Would you also agree?
Contrasting Israelite and Gentile.
Would you also agree that context would let us know what Gentile means?
Yeah, because you didn't know the context of 9 to 11, because 11 talks about the Gentiles being grafted into the Israeli tree.
So when we go in Romans 11,
Gentiles are grafted into the Jewish tree.
I'm gonna jump up in Romans 11 chapter.
I can't. Can we do time? This person's too.
Okay, let's do time. So we spoke backstage. If someone requests time, I told him that I would adhere to it. So let's do it timed. Jay, what you want to do? 1 minute or 2 minute responses?
Either one, phone me.
We should do
1 minute is fine with you, Jay?
How about asking the question? How about the time that
let's do
that? Let's go back and if he asks a question, a timed response. That way we can get our word.
And also so Captain Tazaryach, the other thing too, and I think I can hear you. I think that you know about this too. When someone is trying to run a line of argument, maybe they're asking a question, looking for your answer, asking another question, looking for your answer.
Yeah, I do that.
That's totally fine. That's like the interrogation part. That's what Jay was speaking about. So you have to allow some room for that to happen as well. And I'll allow room for you to do the same thing for him. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's hop into the 1 minute responses.
I just want to get into clarity first.
All right, Cap, what's up?
What is the length of time for asking the questions?
Okay, we're just doing 1 minute rebuttals, Cap. So he's going to go ahead and ask his question. It's going to be, he can ask his question. I'll time it. Basically, you have 1 minute to speak. If you stop before 1 minute, then I'll just go ahead and let the person answer the question.
Gotcha. Okay. And then if there's a line of questions or follow-up question, he's entitled to do that with me. And
yes.
I'm entitled to do that.
How about this? Because I think that both of you do want to interrogate one another after we get through a form of the 1 minute responses, see if we can create some decorum and get some understanding. Then let's allow one another to interrogate the person. So, Jay, the floor is yours. You got a minute.
Wait, Cooley. In fairness, it was my question that he cried about, not his question to me.
No, I want to answer the question.
I'm talking to Cooley. I'm not even talking to you.
Okay, Jay. Cap, real quick, Cap. Listen, though, I'm yielding the floor to Jay. Jay requested the 1 minute timer, so I'm just yielding it to him.
He should be answering my question, though.
So currently, right? Hey, Cap. Let's just do 1 minute, Cap. Come on.
No, but hold on, Cooley.
Cap, you keep on saying hold on. We agreed to 1 minute, Cap.
Wait. I don't have a problem with the 1 minute, but you're making it like he gets to ask me a question when I want to answer him a question.
He said he wants to answer your question. That's what he wanted to do. So I'm just quickly
repeat the question and then he answered. I'll be 10 seconds. It'll be 10 seconds.
Go ahead, Cap. Sure, go ahead, Cap. Go ahead.
Fair. Appreciate it. So now in Romans 9:4, it says Israel pertains the adoption, the covenant, and the promises. Can you show another nation by name that has the adoption, the covenant, and the promises? That's the question.
All right, Jay, you got 1 minute. Go ahead.
Right. So I'm going to go to Romans 11. I'm going to explain the context to him and read the passages where Paul specifically answers his question. I speak to you Gentiles. He's speaking to the church at Rome. Now, this idiot thinks that the word Gentiles there means Israel, because the word nation or Gentile can also refer to Israel because it just means nation. Paul is saying that he is an apostle to the Gentiles to help them get along with the Jews in the church of Rome who are now believing in the Messiah. I speak to you Gentiles, since I am an apostle to the Gentiles. Imagine how stupid this would be for Paul to say that I'm an apostle to the Jews and I speak to you Jews, or just Gentiles. So he doesn't understand that grammar is determined by the context. Here it's contrasted to the Jews, who are the native olive branch and the native tree, upon which the Gentiles are unnative and being grafted into. So his answer, the answer to Romans 9 about chapter 4, is that the adoption and the covenant and the promises are to all, whether slave, free, male, female, Jew, or Greek.
All right,
Notice
that's
when I
time.
said Greek.
Thank you. So I
He
get
said Greek doesn't count.
The 11th
Give him
chapter.
let's let him land his plane. We'll give him a little time over. Go ahead, Jay.
That's it.
Okay, go ahead, Cap.
Yeah, only because you said time is why I spoke. I'm sorry. If you would like when you gave him the extra time before, I didn't speak. I'm the only one having decorum here. Anyway, so when he did not answer the question, I asked him by name to show where other nations by name get the covenant, the promises, or the adoption. He did not show it. What he did go was to Romans 11 and bring up, I am the apostle to the Gentiles. But he stopped reading. When it says, for I speak to you Gentiles, as much as I'm apostle to the Gentiles, I magnify mine office. If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh. His flesh is Israelites. And the Israelites in Rome were called Greek. They were Hellenized. Even when you look up the word Greek, it'll be a Hellenist, a Jew who made Greek their tongue. That's why you see Greek. That's why you see Gentile. So I got a follow-up question. In Romans 9:24, it says, even only have called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles, as he also saith in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. Who is that written to?
Time.
Who is that written to?
To the church at Rome, Jew and Gentile.
So in Romans,
to the church at Rome, both Jew and Gentile.
So the Gentiles in Romans 9:24 would be non-Israelites to you.
Again, do you not understand grammar? The word
I'm just asking the question. Would it be
the word Gentile can refer to a proper noun or a general noun?
But in that verse, is those Gentiles?
Do you understand the difference between proper and
just
general?
trying to get it. Can I get a yes or no? In that verse, are Gentiles non-Israelites to you? Yes or no?
Yes, the word Gentile.
In verse 25, I understand it. So in verse 25, when it says, I will call them my people, excuse me, as it also say in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and a beloved, which was not my beloved. It is your position that the non-Israelites who at one time would not be called God's people would now be called God's people. That's your position,
That's
right?
what the verse says. Correct.
Okay, got it. Real quick, gentlemen, real quick. Cap, since you are running your line of argument, perfect. Let's go ahead and you can do your interrogation first. We'll do 10 minutes of your interrogation.
I don't need 10 minutes because I only got like 2 more questions.
Okay, fine. After this, though, Jay is going to run his interrogation.
Yeah, definitely. So,
okay, got it. Go ahead.
In Romans 9:25, who is OC? Because it says, as it also says in OC, is who?
Oh, I'm sorry. What says it's Hosea.
Okay, so
Hosea.
And who is Hosea talking about when he makes that statement? I will call them my people, which were not my people.
I actually referenced this in my opening statement that it's a prophecy of the Gentile church coming into the worship of the King, the worship of the God of Israel.
This is the problem I have with Orthodox Christianity. They lie on the Bible because Hosea did not say this is a prophecy for non-Israelites. What Hosea actually said,
who would not my people
verse
be?
10, and Hosea 1:10 says, well, first of all, when you read Hosea, the first chapter, verse 9 says, then said God, call his name Lo Amai, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. God is cutting off the children of Israel. He ain't got to cut off non-Israelites. Don't say correct. Don't say correct now, because if that means from the time that he's writing this, Israelites are not his people. That's why Paul is in Rome quoting Hosea to tell the Israelites.
I know you have a hard
Rome,
time with this. Both things are true.
You're one of the most ignorant white men I've ever debated out of decorum. All you do is throw ad homs, but it's not going to work tonight. So when
you just yell, dude,
it says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. Clearly talking about Israel. And it shall come to pass where it was said unto them, the Israelites, ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living of God.
It's not a
sermon. The children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together. So you said that
you're just sermonizing.
You just said that in Romans it's talking about non-Israelites, but Paul is quoting Hosea that said the children of Israel are going to be called God's people once again. You don't know the Bible.
Both of those things are true.
I'm done, Cooley.
I know it's hard for you to understand. Both of those things are true at once. Hosea, in his immediate context, is rebuking the idolatrous Israelites of his day, and he's saying, you people are going to be rejected. God is rejecting you, because anyone who is unfaithful, even in the Old Testament, is not a true Israelite. It was always the case that the only way to be a true Israelite is to have faith in God and to faith in the coming Messiah. Jesus says Abraham has faith in him. Moses has faith in him. That's John 5 to John 9. So the Old Testament saints and prophets looked ahead to faith in the Messiah, and that's how they were saved. But to answer his stupid question, both of those things can be true at once. Just because Hosea is saying to the Israelites of his day, you are not my people, it doesn't mean that it's not a prophecy of the coming era when the Messiah would bring in all the Gentile nations. I'll give you an example of specific nations mentioned. In Psalm 60, it says, equating between 7 and 8, Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, Ephraim is mine, Judah is my lawgiver, Moab is my waspot, Edom is my shoe, Philistia will triumph because of me. Those are the historic enemies of God. And the New Testament is citing these passages like Psalm 60 and others to point out that the fulfillment of these predictions is the Gentile nations coming in. So you want specific nations listed, there you go. The classic enemies of God are listed as equal to and amongst his people.
All right, fellas. Jay, do you want to interrogate Cap?
Sure.
All right. Let's hop right into it. I know you guys had some core disagreements on certain things.
I think we had Gentiles, Jesus is God, virgin birth.
The virgin birth, that Jesus is God, the Most High God. Right. So, Jay, I'll go ahead and let you do your thing.
Before you go,
no, Cap. None of the Cap. I know, Cap. Real quick, Cap. You got to learn how to yield.
I'll be trying to help people. That's
Jay, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so you referred a lot of times to the scriptures and to the New Testament, to these passages, but in the study of the text, the history of the text and canonical studies, in a lot of cases, we don't know who wrote these texts. For example, we don't know that Matthew, the apostle, is the author of the Gospel of Matthew. And so one of the things that is central to knowing the authenticity of these texts is in fact their pedigree and their use amongst the church fathers. Now, you said a bunch of things early on that the church fathers all disagree. They don't all believe in the deity of Christ. They disagree on circumcision. There are no church fathers that disagree on the deity of Christ or the topic of circumcision because it was solved in the book of Acts in chapter 15 at the Jerusalem Council. So number one, I want to know, can you cite me some of the church fathers who disagree, this assertion that you made? And then how do you know that the New Testament canon that you have is the right canon of scripture?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the disagreements that they had was on what I actually said was the divinity of Christ.
You said and circumcision. You said both.
I did say circumcision too, but you asked about the differences of Jesus being God. That was your actual question. You did mention circumcision.
I asked you about both of them just now.
Okay, so whichever order I choose to go, I can go. Jesus Christ.
Name some church fathers that disagreed. You made the assertion. Who disagreed?
So when I say they disagreed on the divinity. Some believe Christ was created.
Who?
Some believe.
Show some disagreements. Where's the source?
Or if listening is an art, all you got to do is just let me respond.
You don't have a source, do you?
Yeah, I do have
You just said it. You just asserted it.
So, for example, in the 4th century nature of Christ, Arius and Athanasius of Alexander, is he created? The debate was, is he created, Arius, or eternal God, Athanasius?
Okay, but you said the church fathers.
These are all church fathers. Irenaeus.
Arius is not a church father. No, he's not. Arius is a heretic. So church fathers are those that are approved.
Irenaeus was called a heretic because he disagreed. However you say his name, was called a heretic because he disagreed with the other people, which is what the council's for, which is what I said from the beginning. Irenaeus and Valentine. Irenaeus and Valentine.
It's Irenaeus.
Also, however you say his name, they disagreed. They did not agree. Some believe.
Jay, when you speak, real quick, come closer to the mic because Captain Mike is overpowering yours a little bit when you guys are speaking over one another. Okay, so go ahead.
Right. So what he's citing is the debates that were had amongst church fathers and heretics. Church fathers are not heretics.
Church fathers.
You said church fathers, and that's not
who
you
said.
Heretics,
the arguments they
heretics
had
are not church fathers.
They became heretics because they disagreed with the other side. If they agreed with the side, they were not heretics.
If that's the standard, then the disagreements amongst Black Hebrew Israelite cults means that your sect is disqualified. If that's your standard, you idiot.
I don't. If you can stop, hey Cooley, is this where we could just disrespect and call each other names? Because I haven't
So-
done that.
He's just going to
He's
whine
called-
about it.
So
He's
Cap,
called me an idiot.
Cap, you
multiple
did,
times.
Yeah, but
Cap,
that's
you
not
did
a
call
rhetoric.
him a white something.
No, I did
You know,
not.
you guys
I
have
didn't. I
been.
said that
You did,
after-
Cap.
Hold up, you're being
Well,
disingenuous.
y'all both been going back and forth.
I said he's the most ignorant white man because he kept interrupting me and calling me an idiot. I have not
you're
given him
uneducated.
any
You're a
insight.
This was the
fundamentally
first time he
uneducated.
said idiot, Cap.
That is a
This was the
lie.
first.
Cooley,
Yeah,
when
this
you
the
go
first
back and
time I've
watch
heard
this-
it.
When you go
The
back
first
and
time.
watch this, you're gonna. I wouldn't say it if it was the first time, but he keeps
Guess what?
saying it,
In
and I'm
debate,
trying to
that's called-
avoid.
that's called
I'm
rhetoric.
trying to avoid
You can
calling
insert
him
names
names
in
and him
debate.
calling
That's
me
called
names.
rhetoric.
All
We
right,
could
Cap,
just keep
Cap. I got you,
discussing.
Cap.
So
I got you, Cap.
So I'm naming church fathers. You're calling them
you're
heretics,
not.
which I'm not even
No.
mad at you calling them heretics. You're supposed to call them a heretic.
You don't
But
even
before
understand that
but
it's a
before
double
they
standard.
but before they were called a heretic, they were in agreement. So then you
No, they
said,
weren't.
when you said,
Again,
and
how
that
do you-
applies.
No, they
then you
weren't.
said-
How do you
then
demonstrate
said-
that?
then
How do you
said-
demonstrate that?
Well, you're calling them a heretic. I didn't call them a heretic. I said they were church
You
fathers.
just said before that they were in disagreement. How do you demonstrate
I
that
said
Valentinus was in
before-
agreement with? How do you
Yes.
demonstrate that Valentinus was in agreement with Irenaeus? That's your claim.
I never said that they were in agreement or
You just did.
disagreement.
2
I
seconds
said they
ago,
were
you said
all
before they were
considered
called
church
heretics, they were in
fathers
agreement.
until, let me say it better so you're going to understand. Before they had the councils, they were all church fathers.
Irenaeus wasn't in a council.
Whoever won the
Irenaeus
council,
was not in
the
a
other
council.
people became
You
the
don't know
heretic.
what you're talking
And then
about.
you made the argument
What
to say,
council
well,
was
that's the
Irenaeus in?
same thing. Then you made the argument to say,
Council.
then you-
Okay,
Irenaeus
okay,
involved
Captain,
in.
Cap,
you keep
please
saying, "Cap,"
answer.
I'm getting interrupted
Yeah, I
while
know.
I'm talking.
But Cap,
Because
it's
you're
his
saying nonsense.
interrogation.
I
If he's
agree.
gonna,
I don't
real
have
quick,
a problem. I
Cap.
don't have a
You know what
problem with him
interrogation is?
interrupting me, but
Cap.
don't tell me I'm not answering.
no,
You're not.
Cap, listen, he's literally, I can remember the questions. He's literally asking you certain questions, and I need you to answer those questions.
I'm
That's why he
giving
keeps
direct
restating the
names.
question.
He said, "What?"
You said
church-
Irenaeus
I gave
was in
what
agreement
church
with
fathers?
Valentinus until a council. What council was Irenaeus in? It's nonsense. It doesn't.
No
there is no
problem.
council that Irenaeus is in.
Got you.
You're just saying bullshit.
No problem. So as I've stated, I've answered every question that
What
he's
council was
asked. Whether
Irenaeus
he-
in?
Whether he
Answer that
You
question,
asserted
Jay.
that.
What council was Irenaeus in? Can you
mean
answer his
that-
specific
you mean
questions?
You mean answer that question, Cap? You don't mean.
I mean,
answer that.
you answer that question, Cap. Yeah, can you do that?
So in the second century, Gnosticism versus Orthodox Christianity, the key figures of one side,
You're just
Irenaeus.
reading Wikipedia, dude. You made an assertion. Come on.
This is not Wikipedia.
Okay,
actually.
Google,
This is-
whatever
this
you're
is-
reading.
This is not
Come
Google
on, man.
at all.
You're a fraud,
And then
dude.
so you'll say
You're a
that
fraud.
you'll say
You're
so now
Googling
Cooley,
live in
all
a
I want to
debate,
point out,
idiot.
Cooley,
You can't
I
Google
brought
in
up
a
the second
debate.
century. I brought up the two sides,
What
Gnosticism
council? You
versus
made the
Orthodox.
assertion.
I brought up the side, Gnosticism
You
versus
made an
Orthodox
Cap,
assertion.
Christianity.
once
It's
again,
wrong.
let's just get some quick
Well,
decorum.
you keep
Cap,
saying
listen.
Cap. Why are you saying for me to get decorum?
Cap, it's an interrogation. He's asking you
I don't
specific
care
questions
about
that he
All I'm
needs
telling you
specific
is
You don't care
answers
about
I'm
to.
answering.
You don't care
He
about
don't
how
have
the
to
debate
agree with my
I'll let you
answer,
interrogate
but I
me.
am answering it. I'm
Cap,
not.
he allowed you to interrogate him. Can you allow the same thing in good faith and answer the specific
You
questions?
saying
You
Cap.
said
I'm not saying Cap.
Irenaeus-
That's what you're saying.
You
I'm
said
naming it. I
Irenaeus
said
was-
Gnosticism
dude, shut
versus
up.
Orthodox Christianity in the second century.
You
I
asserted
answered
this.
his question.
This is your assertion.
directly. Whether he says it's an assertion or not, I'm answering his question, Cooley. I'm not
What council?
answering his question.
What
I
council
named
was Irenaeus in?
Irenaeus
You said it was
and
a
I named
council.
Valentine.
Cap, listen. All right, Jay, go ahead and restate your question for the fifth time, I think. Go
He
ahead.
said they were in agreement prior to the disagreements, which he can't demonstrate
not the
that.
statement I
He
said.
doesn't know that. And then he said that there was a council, and then Irenaeus and Valentinus had a disagreement. There is no council that Irenaeus is involved in with Valentinus. You said that. Now name the council. You're just spouting out bullshit you're reading on the internet.
So when you look up Valentine and
What
Irenaeus,
council?
when you look up Valentine and Irenaeus,
It's Valentinus.
when you look up Valentinus and Irenaeus, you'll see Valentinus was mid-second century Egyptian Christian.
Okay, what council? You're just reading
Egyptian Christian
Wikipedia.
philosopher. I'm not reading Wikipedia. I'm just reading
Google.
the information. So again,
From where?
Irenaeus
Google.
and Valentinus. Valentinus was
What
the leader of the
council? You're just
Gnostics,
spitting out
and they were
bullshit.
against
You don't have
the
a council. So there's
and
not
they were
one. You're just
against
saying bullshit.
and they were against
So there's not a
Irenaeus.
council, is there? What's
You
the name of the
cannot,
council?
if you're having a battle That is what the
Because
councils
you don't have
were.
one. You're just saying bullshit on the internet. You said
I'm not
you
saying
talk faster
bullshit
than
on
you
the
can think.
internet. Anybody can look this up online.
Okay, look.
And
Well,
you'll
tell me
see.
the council. You got it on. You got it online right now.
The title of it says Irenaeus even wrote a book.
What council?
Irenaeus wrote Against Heresy.
You said a council.
Shows the competing Christianities early.
Dude, we don't need you to read Wikipedia.
This is, I don't know
What
why you keep saying
council?
Wikipedia. I would never use Wikipedia. I don't know why you would
You're
say
using Google, you idiot.
I'm not using Google. Again, Cooley, you're not saying nothing when he
You're
calls me
reading
an
off of your
idiot.
screen.
Like if I
What
start acting
council?
ignorant and name call like he just
What
did, and you
council?
didn't say nothing, Cooley,
What
you're gonna
council?
say you
don't
didn't
know.
hear that either.
I'm gonna
Right?
ask the moderator.
Cap, I got you, Cap. Cap.
Moderator, he doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, Cap. It's very simple. Idiot is fine. You called him a white something.
Say less.
Like those things are fine. You're not making really any like true personal attacks. You're not talking about one another's family. That is fine. It's totally okay, Cap. You can do the same. You guys both been doing it, but just answer his question.
I did answer it. He just didn't.
What council? What council?
I said Gnosticism versus Orthodox Christianity.
You said a council condemned it. What?
No, I didn't say a council condemned.
Yes, you did.
That's not what I said. I said they were condemned. I said they would condemn them whenever. No, I'm not. When you go back and listen, I would say they would be. Actually, I didn't even use the word. I didn't use the word condemn. I used your word when you said heretic. When your dumb ass said heretic, I said they became heretics because they disagreed.
In a council.
I named others outside of Irenaeus and Valentine. I named other people. That's why you would have the Council of Nicaea when they would debate. Is Jesus created?
120.
It doesn't matter when it is. They're all considered church fathers.
You said Irenaeus in a council.
All of these people are considered church fathers, and none of them have the authority on the Bible. I can't help it if you don't want to accept. Like when it says listening is an art.
All right, fellas, listen. Let's have some decorum for the audience. The audience. Yeah. The audience needs to hear exactly what's being said. I kind of let it rock because I like the blood sport, but let's have some decorum real quick.
Actually interrupts when somebody talks him.
It's called an interrogation, and you got busted.
When I interrogated you, I gave you the respect, which I want you going forward to respond. I did not interrupt you in your answer. I disagree with every answer that you gave, but I did not interrupt in your answer.
Of course you did.
I did not. When you go back and watch it, when I interrogated you about Romans 9, XYZ, I did not interrupt you in your answer. I answered the question.
You've already lost. What council? You said council.
I answered it.
You don't have one.
I answered it.
ChatGPT didn't tell you.
I answered the question.
You use a ChatGPT.
If listening is
uneducated idiot using ChatGPT, like we wouldn't know. Like we wouldn't know you're using.
I'm not even using ChatGPT either. I have a whole PowerPoint on the subject.
Yeah.
I have a whole PowerPoint on the subject. No problem.
You said a council with Irenaeus.
No problem. So I'll go with the different councils that they had.
Which
councils 325, 381. All of these people.
That's 150 years after Irenaeus.
It doesn't matter. I'm giving you a timeline of them having constant disagreements on the deity of Christ, and you know that they didn't agree on the deity of Christ. Some believe he was created in a council. Some believe he was created. Some believe he wasn't created. That requires a council. And when the council wins that he's a deity, then the people that believe he's created become the heretics.
Let's go back to time. Yeah. Let's go back to time for decorum for the audience. We got a lot of people watching, thousands of people.
You got caught in a lot.
If the time is for the person to respond to the question, then the time is for me, not him. It's
not my fault that you said
when he brought up time before, that was for him to respond to me.
Now he's melting down.
Yeah, Cap. So look, Cap, we agreed prior to the debate, whoever requests time, I'm going to adhere to it. He requested time. So y'all want to do 1 or 2 minutes back and forth? 1 minute?
But Cooley, you're
all right, let's do 1 minute. So we doing 1 minute, Cap. And guess what? For this 1 minute, you're going to go first. So you got the 1 minute. The floor is yours. Once you start speaking, go ahead.
1 minute to do what exactly?
Whatever you wanted to respond to and to his questions.
No.
Okay. All right. So then the 1 minute goes to Jay then. You want to take it or you want Jay to take it? I was trying to give it to you. Be fair.
No, he can have it.
Okay, Jay, the 1 minute is yours.
Yeah, so again, he specifically said, and people can wind back a few minutes and you can hear that he said that Irenaeus and Valentinus came into disagreement and there was a condemnation at a council. and that's what led to the disagreement and the consideration of another person as a heretic. Irenaeus was not involved in a council with Valentinus. He referred to Nicaea, which is in 150 years after the time of Irenaeus, where Arius is disagreeing with Athanasius. In all academic Christian literature, even amongst people who disagree with Christianity, there's not an equivalence between patristic writers and church fathers. Those are different categories. So, for example, Origen, Tertullian, they were outside of the church and they ended up being patristic writers. Their writings are worthwhile. They have a lot of historical attestation, but they're not church fathers. And so he specifically said the church fathers all disagreed, but you saw when we actually go into this, he has no idea what he's talking about. He's just reading from the internet.
All right, Cap, floor is yours.
Response. Tertullian, for example, 155, maybe that's a closer timeline to him. Against Praxis, there was a time when the sun was not. Why is that controversy? Because people believe that Christ always was. That's why it says against Praxis. Then you have Athanasius, which comes 296, that says the sun is eternal. When it comes to the circumcision, Justin Martyr, we too should observe the fleshly circumcision. If we did not know, that's 100 AD, says Torah had a temporary purpose. Irenaeus, 130, 202, Abraham was justified without circumcision, emphasizes faith over the law. So there was discrepancy of you didn't have to do circumcision or you could do circumcision. There was a question of Christ having a creation point, Christ not having a creation point. So it doesn't matter which time frame that I started. You don't have to say, yeah, shut your mouth. You don't have to talk during my time. I didn't talk during your time. There's only one professional here. So now,
all right, Cap, time up.
What year? It doesn't matter what year.
Cap, time up, man. You use your time.
He went over
just
the
let him
time,
reply.
This whole debate, when he went over the time, you gave him extra seconds. Even
okay, go ahead, land your plane.
Even when I spoke, you said, hey, Cap, let's let him end his plane.
Oh,
but you won't let me land.
I'll let you do it as well, Cap, but go ahead, land your plane. It's fine.
I had to say something to let me do it because your values too. So now, you the bitch. Now we calling each other bitches. You the bitch.
I said you're whining and bitching.
You're a bitch though. Like, okay, you're the one that's unprofessional.
You ready to get refuted?
As I was closing out.
You ready to get refuted?
It doesn't matter what year I use. The point is, who they call the church fathers did not agree on everything. That's a fact. And I gave sources that's closer to his timeline.
Yeah, let's go into the first source.
How long does he get the hot seat? When is it my turn for the hot seat?
Dude, stop bitching about my time.
So, Cap, remember, we started with you doing the interrogation, but you said you didn't need long, and you stopped your interrogation very quick.
All I asked was how long. I'm just asking how long.
Can we go through this? He mentioned against
Praxis. I did not say it had to stop. Asking how long does not mean I wanted to stop. I'm trying to get a time frame.
Okay,
how
got
long?
It. Okay, well, he got 1 minute right now.
Are you able to?
The floor is 1 minute, Jay. Go ahead.
Are you able to pull up anything? Because he referenced a text that's important.
You asking me that?
No. Cooley, are you able to pull up anything, or is that?
Yeah, I can pull up some stuff for sure.
Okay, so this link that I put in the private chat there, he mentioned against Praxis.
All right.
Okay, so you'll look at chapter 2. Well, you pull up that page and you scroll down to chapter 2. He gave the impression that Tertullian was teaching the Arian view, which is a misquotation because Tertullian teaches, what is that in chapter 2? Can you see that? What's the title of chapter 2 right there?
I'll go ahead and pull it up.
See, I've actually read these books. He hasn't read these books. Chapter 2 says, in against Praxis, scroll down a little bit.
Yep.
Let's just read this title. Chapter 2, the Catholic doctrine of the Trinity and Unity, sometimes called the divine economy, or the dispensation of the personal relations of the Godhead. So notice this is 150 AD, which he tried to misquote as a reference to Arianism. He doesn't even know that this book is a refutation of the modalist position, which is his Unitarian position. And he calls Praxeus the modalist who believes that there's only one person in the Godhead, a heretic. The very book that this idiot is citing from is a defense of the Trinity, the Catholic doctrine of the Trinity in 150 AD, which is what he cited. So this actually refutes everything that he was arguing. He doesn't even know the sources.
All right, Jay, that's your time. And Cap, if you need me to pull up anything, I will.
There's a saying, I rarely shout this man out, but Garfield said you die on your source. I didn't bring this up to say whether they believed in Trinity or not. What
No, I brought it up for that.
again, the dumbass is talking while I'm talking. And again, the
doesn't even
moderator
understand why I
says
brought it
nothing.
up.
You are supposed to shut your fucking
Go ahead,
mouth.
Jay. Let him get it
Like,
for the minute.
shut
Go
your
ahead, Cap.
fucking mouth.
Cap, you got
Every
the minute,
time-
man. It's yours, man. Go
Don't
ahead.
say Cap, because you ain't saying nothing. The 2 times he interrupted, I have not interrupted him. So I can tell him to shut the fuck up. That's what I can
got
tell
you,
him.
Cap. I'm just running the time. I paused it, but go ahead.
You died
Continue.
on your source. This wasn't about the Trinity. This was about the divinity of Christ. So when it says there was a time when the Son was not, and then he mentioned Arianism, which lets you know that there was a set of people that did not believe that Jesus was divine. They believed that he was the physical Son of God that became divine when he ascended. So now that's another disagreement, which is my point. But you would not see the apostles disagreeing like that. But you will see them disagreeing like that. So you had some of the church fathers that said Christ had a creation point. You had some that said he did not. That's what I said. I didn't say whether they believed he was God, whether they believed in the Trinity. My argument was only that they disagreed on if Christ was created or not. So your source does not help you. It hurts you because it shows how stupid you are, because I was not talking about Trinity. We can talk about it if you want. I'm done.
All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
again, this is a fundamentally stupid person. I specifically said that it was ironic that you brought this up because it's a document written against both errors of the Paul of Samosata view that Christ was a mere creature. This is before Arianism. It's what would become Arianism. And he's mainly focused on Praxeas and his Sabellianism. So it shows that the Trinity doctrine was taught right here in chapter 2, clear as day. He doesn't teach the Son is a mere creature if he teaches the Trinity, you idiot. That's the whole point of chapter 2. So you're a blasphemer and a dumb person who can't understand grammar and doesn't even know the writings that he's sourcing. So when you read this writing, this is a early reference to the multiplicity in the Godhead and the unity of the Godhead. That's a refutation of both the Arian, or what would become the Arian position, and the Sabellian position. That's what I said. You haven't actually read this because Tertullian consistently defends the deity of the person of Christ. When the church fathers, not heretics, not the
time, Jay. Time.
When they
you can finish the last sentence. I'll do the same thing for Cap.
When they speak of Christ's human nature being created, that's his human nature, not his divine personhood. It's a both and, like Romans 1 says.
All right, Cap, floor is yours.
So the more we talk, I want everybody to pay attention. Remember, my argument was that the church fathers didn't agree. And the more we talk, the more because he want to make it seem like he reads everything, the more he tells y'all more people that didn't agree, more people that didn't get along, more people that disagreed on the divinity of Christ, this come, that come, which was my point. But in the Bible, Paul says he's the Son of the Most High. Peter says he's the Son of the Most High. The demons say he's the Son of the Most High. Christ says he has a God in the Bible. So I would never believe the church fathers. Christ said, I go to my God and your God. I go to my Father and your Father. So how can Christ be God if he got a God that he's going to? Christ in John 17:3 says that they might know the one true God, the Father, and the Son whom he sent. So the superiority is the Bible. The church fathers is ass. They are trash. They are nothing because they blaspheme every time they make Jesus the Most High God.
You good? Want to finish your sentence? Go ahead, man.
No, that was good right there.
You're good? Okay. Jay?
Yeah, I think he thinks that yelling and acting like a preacher is the same thing as a debate. And so he doesn't understand internal critiques. He doesn't understand when I'm showing his position to be inconsistent from his own dumb argumentation. So again, as I said, when I asked him earlier, which he blew past, he never even attempted a response. I specifically said to him, we don't know the pedigree of who Matthew was of the Gospel of Matthew. And I can undercut this whole thing to point out that, guess what? The church fathers are the one that put the Bible together. The canon of scripture that you have comes from the oral tradition that he referred to of the church fathers, together with the liturgical practice of the lectionaries in the early apostolic sees. There's no way to actually know that Paul wrote Paul's epistles, the Paul the apostle, or that Matthew the disciple wrote the Gospel of Matthew, apart from the patristic church father tradition. Even Protestant scholars like F.F. Bruce or Lee McDonald. I'll admit that you have to have this oral tradition that comes from the church fathers and the apostolic succession in the important bishoprics and sees. And so I ask him again, how do you know that you have the right canon of scripture, given that the church fathers put the Bible together?
Thank you. One thing we finding out, it don't matter if we know or don't know who put the Bible together. What we do know is that, and this is a dumbass. That's a dumbass right there. But what we do know,
it don't matter.
The church fathers don't understand the Bible. That we do know. In Daniel 7:9, it says, "I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit."
No answer.
Whose garment was white as snow. Then it says in verse 13, the Son of Man is coming to the Ancient of Days. So when they say that Jesus is God or Jesus is the Most High, if the Ancient of Days is the Most High and the Son of Man is being presented, there is no verse that calls Christ the Ancient of Days. So that means that there's a time, again, dumb nigga talking.
Moderator.
Look at dumb nigga talking. Look at the dumbass talking. Look at the dumbass talking. Look at that.
I got you, Jay.
I gave a response. He did not ask
asking me questions. When
I'm not asking him no question.
You just asked me the truth.
Real quick, fellas. I got you, Jay.
The dumbest nigga ever.
Jay, I got you. Jay, just let him, because it's still being timed. Once we get to the time, Jay, go ahead and do your thing. Because
hold on,
3 times in a row he could not handle the time.
He
3 times in a row. This white man asked for time, he could not handle it.
So Cap, real quick. He did ask a question. You did not answer the question. So he was looking for the answer to the question within the 1 minute time, but it's fine. What we can do is, Cap, I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you so you can finish responding. And then after that, let's open it up, because I do think that the audience wants to hear the back and forth and wants to hear both of you ask one another questions and actually answer the questions. So Cap, you actually had only 10 seconds left, but I'll give you an extra 30 seconds. Do your thing, bro.
No, I appreciate it, man. That time. So if the Ancient of Days is there before the Son of Man, then that means the Ancient of Days existed outside of the Son of Man. So Jesus can't be that God. If in Revelation, the 5th chapter, we see that same Most High sitting on the throne, and then the Lamb who's from the tribe of Judah being presented before that throne, he can't be that God. In Revelation, the 3rd chapter and the 12th verse, this is what Christ said, and I landed right here. I might go a little bit past the time. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God. This Jesus talking. And he shall go no more out. And I will write upon the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of heaven from my God. In that one verse, Christ said he had a God 4 times. So he cannot be that God if he has that God.
All right, got it. Time. And Cap, I gave you an extra 20 minutes there, but totally cool, man. Jay, I said 20 seconds. I mean, Jay, floor is yours. I know you wanted to ask him some questions and get some answers to the questions that you asked. So go ahead.
Yeah, right. Well, it would have been a good idea maybe to look into the Orthodox doctrine of the Trinity if you wanted to come to debate that, because you would know that we teach monarchical Trinitarianism, which is the teaching that the Father is the one true God, the source, fount, and arche. However, the word God, I know you have a really hard time with grammar and words. They seem to really trip you up. But the word God is a general term, just like the word nation is a general term. It can be proper or it can be non-proper. I know that's really hard for you, but in the same way, the word God can pick out the person of the Father. It can pick out the divine nature that the Son and the Spirit share, and it can pick out divine operations and energies. So that's monarchical Trinitarianism, and all of your questions don't even deal with that, because we believe that Daniel 9, Daniel 7, all of these passages teach monarchical Trinitarianism. Now, again, I asked you multiple times, how do you know that you have the right Bible, given that you said the church fathers are garbage?
Can you repeat the question, please?
You said the church fathers are all dumb and garbage, but the church fathers have the oral tradition that lets us know the authors of the Gospels, the authors of the epistles, and they put the Bible together centuries after the time of Christ and the apostles.
And you want to know why do I call them dumb? Is that the question?
No. Do you want me to ask the question for the 4th time? How do you know you have the right biblical canon?
Oh, thank you. Because the church, actually, I know I have the right biblical canon because the church fathers don't know it, and I do. That's how I know. Because when I look at what the church fathers are saying, when the church fathers are saying that there's a Trinity in the Bible, but when I read the Bible, I don't see Trinity, I know that the church fathers don't know what they're saying. And I know that the Lord will put his spirit, just like he put his spirit on Judas to do his job. He put his spirit on Saul to do his job. So having people maintain the records does not mean that you understand it. In the book of Amos, the 3rd chapter, it says he revealed nothing except to his prophets. So having the Bible in our hand, you know what they created? They created a white image of Jesus, even though the image that they have of Jesus does not matter. So just because they have the records and they portray and they give us something does not mean that it matches biblically. That's why Paul said, let God be true and every man a liar. So the Orthodox Church are dumb and they're liars because nothing they teach can be substantiated in the Bible. This Jesus, this Trinity, there's not even a verse that says Trinity, not even a verse that hints at Trinity in the Bible. But that's what the church fathers believe.
Okay. I have a question. Is there a verse that says what the Bible is?
Yeah, the Bible is I'll use the verse Romans 15 and 4.
No, what is in the Bible? Where's the verse that tells you Bible?
I don't know if there's a verse that tells you Bible.
Okay.
What I would say,
So now
I would use probably Torah, because it means law or instructions. And like Paul said in Romans 15 and 4, whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning, that through patience and comfort of the scriptures, we might have hope. But that understanding, even Christ said, I'm glad that he kept this from the wise and prudent and gave it unto babes. Why did that matter? Okay. Because even the Pharisees during Christ's time didn't understand it. Even Peter, when Peter was speaking and they saw the boldness of Peter, they knew that he rolled with Christ. And what did they call them? Wait, what did they call them?
Next question.
They called them unlearned men.
Filibustering.
Even though they were called, that's not unlearned, that's in the Bible. Even though they were called unlearned men, they had the Holy Spirit with them. They had Christ with them. They had the power to heal. They had the power to take life. They had all of that.
It's not sermon
time. Even though they were called
this
unlearned.
Is not an answer to the question.
So the church fathers are dumb, and you're dumb.
We know you think that.
You're dumb. That's why you didn't answer.
I'm dumb, right?
That's why
it's funny because
you don't respond to anything.
That's why you can't answer a dumb person's question.
How dumb does that make
you?
I answered the question. You said, how did they keep the record? And I asked it. I answered it.
I have a question.
Don't get mad you didn't like the answer.
Can you restate what my argument was about the canon?
Your argument was, how can the Orthodox be dumb when they the ones that retained and restored the canon, gave identity to like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because they didn't have an author. So how do I know that the canon that I read is the correct canon?
Right. What's your answer?
And my answer was them teaching what they teach, and then me reading the Bible lets me know that the Bible is true. That was my answer. And then you chuckled at it because you said, "How could that be?"
I'm asking how you know you have the right Bible.
Because y'all don't teach it right. I just answered that, and then you laughed like you laughing now. And then I went into the Bible and I said,
again, you don't. So how do you know that you don't have the wrong Bible?
And the first thing I said was,
how do you know that you don't have the right Bible?
No, I know that I have the right Bible.
How?
Because here's maybe you'll understand this.
How?
When you go, I'm about to tell you. So when you go into the Hebrew or Greek that it was originally written,
you don't know those languages.
And then compare it.
You don't know those languages.
Can you speak Hebrew?
I didn't claim to. You did.
Wait, speak Hebrew.
I don't claim to.
So why did you say I don't know the language if your dumb ass? See, that's how you know you fucking stupid.
You don't know English grammar.
I would have been impressed if you
don't know English
Greek.
grammar.
I would have been impressed
because
if
you don't know English
or Hebrew.
Grammar.
Even I can say Shema Yasha'Allah Yahweh Allah Hayanawa Yahweh Akai.
That's not speaking Hebrew. That's a memorized phrase.
I just gave the credo. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Even I can speak. That just backfired on your dumb ass. That's how you know you're a dumbass nigga. That's how you know. Con man. Because you can't even speak the language that you telling me I can't speak. So when I say I go into the language and then you respond by saying you don't know the language, you can't even speak it.
You're a con man.
You asked me a question of something you can't even do yourself.
Why do I have to be? I didn't claim to be.
As I was answering your question,
you don't speak these languages because you don't know basic English grammar.
Listen, so as I was saying, when you go,
are you saying that you do speak English and Greek?
When you go,
you speak English and Greek
in the original language that it was written in.
Do you know those languages?
The language to
do you know them? I don't believe you do.
The English, you can compare and say, okay,
I
this
don't
is the
believe
Greek
you
word.
know those languages.
This is what
I
you
don't
go
believe
to
you.
that word. But
Okay, fellas, let's let one
spoke
another
Hebrew,
land
though.
their plane.
Wait. I just spoke Hebrew.
You literally think that
I
that
just
proves
spoke. I
that you
just
speak
spoke
Hebrew
Hebrew.
by reciting a
If
memorized
I can
phrase.
speak it, then that means that I had to go somewhere to
Oh
learn
my
it.
God, dude.
That I had to go somewhere to
This
read
is
it.
the dumbest person I've ever
I
talked
can't,
to
I
on the
can't
internet.
believe this dumbass nigga is saying this shit right here, man.
You are not a student.
Hey,
You
so
don't
when
know
do we
those
switch?
languages.
Hey, Cooley, how long before we switch, man? Because he can't speak
You
no
just got
Hebrew.
exposed
He
as a
can't speak
fraud.
no
You don't
Greek.
actually know those
He can't
languages.
speak Hebrew or Greek.
You know how I know? I didn't claim to.
But you
to,
said
idiot.
I didn't claim to either.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not. I said
You just
when you
did.
go. No, I did not. I said when you go to the language. What I said was when you
You
go
don't
to
know
the
the language.
language. I said when you go to
But
the
you don't
language
know
that
the
it was
language. What do you mean go
originally
into the language?
written
You don't
in,
know it.
and you compare the Hebrew
But
to
how
the
are you going to
English.
compare it? You don't
That's
know it.
how you compare it.
You don't know the languages. You're a fraud.
How you learn it, excuse me, how you compare it is you would have to learn it.
You don't know this.
So they have Hebrew, anybody can get, and they got Hebrew for dummies. There's
No, they
ways
can't.
that you can learn. There's ways that you can learn the language.
But you ain't done it, dog.
I did though.
But you ain't done it, dog.
Hey, can you show what you learned in Hebrew and Greek? Can you show it?
I didn't claim to know Hebrew.
Can you show it?
You did.
I never claimed it. I said if you go look it up. I don't know
You
Spanish
did.
like that. I don't know
Dude,
Spanish like
you
that. But if
contradict
somebody
yourself
give me something
from
in
one minute
Spanish,
to the
I'm
next.
gonna go compare it to the English and back and forth and make a comparative
That
analysis.
doesn't mean that you
So
know
if
the
it's
language.
Hebrew,
You said you
so
did
if
a
I
minute
have,
ago.
so right now, if I have Amos in front of me, and this
You
is
are
the
the
good thing
lowest
about
IQ
apps
person
like
I've ever
Eastward.
debated.
If you
This
go
is
to
the
an app like
dumbest
Eastward,
person I've
when you
ever
go to
debated. You're worse
here,
than
All right,
T-Mobile.
it'll show you the
fellas.
word there.
I'll let that rock. Hey, Cap, that's cool. Let's get into, because we've been doing this debate now for an hour and a half. It just hit an hour and a half mark. So I'll leave it open to you guys. What do you guys want? Do you guys want to get into another topic? We were just going over is Christ the Most High God? Do you guys want to get into something else? Or do you want to do closing statements? Like how much time do you guys have?
Let's do closing statements and super chats.
We don't want to do. Oh,
okay. Y'all want to close it? That's cool. That's cool because that's right on time.
That's the coward said that. I didn't say that. I just want to know the coward is running.
Dude, you done got busted lying.
Cap, what do you want, Cap?
The virgin birth. Did Christ have a father? It was Joseph, the biological father, but this nigga's running from it.
Okay, that's Cap. You want that? Jay, you want to spend 10 minutes on this? Jay, you want to do 10 minutes on it or no?
I'm the man that's shooting you.
No, I don't want to do no more.
Okay, fair enough.
I will respond.
Look at that bitch ass nigga. You are in the bitch nigga university. That's what you are, Jay.
Dude,
you are in the bitch nigga university.
You don't even know what
running ass. The motherfucker's running.
All right, fellas.
Running like a bitch. Run,
fellas. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna mute both of y'all. We're gonna do closing statements, and I'm going to mute the person during the closing statement. You both have 4-minute closing statements. Right after the 4 minutes of closing statements, we are going to get into super chats. It's so many of them, but I'll try to go ahead and read the higher amounts. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And then if you guys want, I mean, I like to open it up to open panel, have people come on and maybe ask a question, but who knows? If you don't have time for that, Jay, totally fine. I know you're a busy man. You're on a generational run, touring around and stuff. And Cap, I know you got a busy life as well. So, since Jay opened first, Cap, you are going to close first and Jay is going to close last. So Cap, once I take you off mute and once you start speaking, that's when I'm going to start my timer. And I'm going to keep Jay muted. He cannot interrupt you at all during your closing. So say whatever you want. Cap, you're unmuted and your time starts once you start speaking.
Man, you should have done that shit this whole debate. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but we're going to get him the fuck out of here. And when you see that scary movie with Marlon Wayans, he was like, run, bitch, run. That's Jay. Jay's the bitch of this debate. Let that be for the record. So as I knew this debate would go, I had never really heard of Jay Dyer. And somebody reminded me that actually we debated. And I wasn't aware of it. So they sent me the video. And in that video, he was trying to tell me that the word Jewish was in the Old Testament. But when you went to the word, it wasn't Jewish. It was a different word. And then I realized I was dealing with an ignorant bastard. So I knew it was going to come a time where he would be to me, he have no decorum, he would interrupt, he would be rude, and he would be name calling. And so I knew at a point I would have to do the same thing back, but I did not want to do that. I did not want to have the type of debate where we got to do the name calling and ad homs and all that stuff. At some point, we have to be grown men to do something better. But if he wants to be a trash or a white man trash, then I'll join him in it and just show how he's in the bitch nigga university. But this is very easy. None of the church fathers fully agreed. That's why they had the councils. And then at the end of the councils, when they would finally agree and establish what they believe is their Orthodox Christianity. But when you go into the Bible, that Orthodox Christianity does not line up in the Bible. In this back and forth, he did not show any nation by name that received the adoption, the covenant, or the promises. He did not have an answer when I read Hebrews 8:8 in the New Testament when it says, I'm going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel, with the house of Judah. He did the normal minutia that Christians do, where they bring up the word Greek, they bring up the word Gentile. When Gentile just means Gentile in the New Testament is Goyim. I'm sorry, ethnos in the New Testament is Goyim in the Old Testament. And anybody can be an ethnos or a Goyim. So you have to look at the context. So clearly I established who the Gentiles was. Then on the subject of Jesus being God and Jesus being the Most High God specifically, he did not have no answer. But if we read the Bible, Jesus says he has a God. Jesus said he's going to give you the name of his God, the temple of his God, the city of his God. So if Jesus has no problem acknowledging the God that he has, then we should not be trying to put Jesus on the level of that God, because it's disrespectful to him, especially when we can read in the Bible where God made Moses a God in Exodus, the 7th chapter, in Psalms 82:6, when it says ye are God. So the title of God is never what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is when people make Jesus the Most High God, because if the Ancient of Days existed when nothing else existed, then that means that there was a time when the sun was not, which is what Tertullian quoted from whoever he got it from. Who cares? So I just wanted to point that out. This was spirited. I gave my audience something that they could enjoy. We knew how Cooley was going to be. We knew Cooley would be biased. Listen, Cooley giving that little face, but Cooley, Cooley is Cooley. Now, I happen to like Cooley, and then I don't like Cooley. I'll be liking Cooley, and I'm like, come on, Cooley. So Cooley was, my audience, y'all give me a scale of 1 to 10 how good Cooley was a moderator. Y'all let me know. But I don't need the whole 4 minutes. I'll land it right there.
All right, Cap. All right, Cap. This is not my debate, so I have no rebuttal. I'll let you. It's not my debate, right? We had many debates before,
Right,
so
appreciate it.
We'll save that for another time. All right, Jay, give me 1 second here. Let me restart the timer. And once you start speaking, let me take you off of mute as well.
Yeah.
Once you start speaking, I'll start.
I have a link there too. If you want to pull that bottom link there up just for a second.
You want me to pull it up now?
If you get a chance, yeah. I'll go ahead and talk, and then I'll go to it when it goes
Got
up.
it.
But it refutes what he said. Paul says in Romans 1 that he is an apostle called by Christ to confirm what was taught in the prophets that came before. That's the Old Testament prophets concerning the Son, Jesus Christ our Lord, who is born of the flesh according to the seed of David. That's his human nature. But was declared Son of God according to the Spirit of holiness. So to be a son of God means that you have the nature of your father. I have a son. That means he's going to have my nature, human nature. So Jesus being of his human nature of the flesh, it's not a contradiction with him being also of his divinity, the son of his father, according to eternal generation, which is described in John chapter 1. In fact, he asked for proof of the deity of Christ. Well, it turns out there are in other words, in every chapter of the book of John, there's a reference either to the deity of Christ or to the Trinity. And I have a whole lecture through the entirety of the Gospel of John on my channel if you're going to go check it out. But if you look at that link, you'll see right there.
Let me share it again.
Yeah, underneath that link there. Again, this is an illiterate person. And so when we go to actual Hebrew Blue Letter Bible Strong's Dictionaries H3064, which talks about the word Yehudi or Yehudite, which is where we get the word Jew, you will see that in Zechariah 8:23, Jeremiah 43, Esther 2, etc., there are multiple references there to the word Yehudite, which is where we get the word Jew. Jesus says in John 4, salvation is of the Jews. Again, refuting what this person said, who's fundamentally illiterate, just like he didn't even understand the self-own when he admitted in his talk that Moses is called a god. Yeah, that means that the word God can refer to different things. That's exactly what I argued. So Jesus having a God means that the Father is his God. That's monarchical Trinitarianism. That's our position. But that's also an explanation as to why there are so many passages in the Old and New Testament referring to the Son as divine, the one who appeared to Moses, the one who appeared to Hagar, who Hagar saw God face to face. Well, Jesus says that no one sees the Father. So who was the God that appeared in the Old Testament in all those theophanies? It has to be the Son. And in fact, in John 5-9, Jesus identifies himself as the Son of God, the God that appeared in the Old Testament. That's why the Jews want to stone him. So this idiot doesn't even understand grammar, and that the word nation can refer to a proper noun like Israel, a specific nation, or something general like the nations in general. He goes back and forth between not understanding words and reference, much like the rest of his cult, who thinks that terms like the word Jewish means kind of Jew, but the Black Hebrew Israelites are the real Jew. This is so fundamentally stupid that anyone would actually believe this, but that's like saying Kurdish means that you're kind of Kurd, but not really. Or if you're a kingfish, you're kind of a fish, but not really a fish. These are people who don't know grammar, and so they're not actually going to be able to exegete the scriptures, much less the church fathers, which are actually the people that put together the Bible that he uses. When I asked him that, he said, they is dumb, they garbage, they dumb. Without actually understanding that, that means that you're getting your book from garbage dumb people, you idiot. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you both for that, gentlemen. So I ran a poll. And the chat is asking me to bring up the poll. So the poll is simply, who do you have winning the debate? We have let me go ahead and end that poll right now. And let's see what we got. Looks like it is unanimous. Jay Dyer won. We have 1,400 votes in, 92% for Jay Dyer, 8% for Capped. But, both of you are winners in my eyes. Thank both of you for coming on No Fugazi podcast.
I thought I was at Bitch University.
Thank both of you gentlemen for joining the show tonight and giving us all this wonderful debate.
University.
But let me get to some of these super chats real quick. It's too many of them, so I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. Actually, let me do it on my phone because it's probably be the best way. Get the likes up too if you're supporting this. We got a lot of other 1v1 debates on my channel, me versus other people. And I'm sure I'll be having Captain Tazaryach back in, Jay as well. I'll be hosting them on my platform to debate others. So go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you already aren't. And 1 second, let's pull up some of these super chats. All right, so I'm trying to get to the ones that's over 20. We got Rachel Wilson sending in $20. She says, this low IQ garbage is thinly veiled black supremacy, and this guy dances because he thinks he won something when his argument actually refuted his own position. But he doesn't even understand that. Mind-boggling. Okay, thank you, Rachel Wilson. This was... in regards to you, Cap, you want to respond?
Yeah. When people say we're black supremacists, it shows that they don't do a lot of research on us, because in America, we're about blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. So we're, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Dominicans, Guatemalans, Haitians, Jamaicans. We're more than just about what people think are just black people. So I think that white woman is extremely ignorant and unlearned when she says that. And I don't know where my position was defeated at any point biblically. I can't help with people's emotions, but biblically, none of my positions were defeated. I land there.
Fair enough. All right, we got Ortho Joe sending in $50. I appreciate the support, man. He says, I'll be laughing at Jay the Queen Dive roast of this guy forever. So here's a super chat as a thank you. All right, man. Appreciate the support. Who else we got in here for the, and I appreciate all the ones that's that's $5 and $2 and stuff. I appreciate all of those, but I'm only trying to read the bigger chats since we've been already over the time. I'll read some of the $10 ones as well. Let's see here. We got BB sends in $10. Not sure what currency that is, but he says 3K watching, 330 likes. Hit the like button and subscribe. No Fugazi podcast. Do that for me, man.
No Fugazi.
All right, we got Hey Dean says, I'll pay Cap $100 to take an IQ test live. Okay, Cap, you want to respond to that?
No, the Bible says, if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. $100 would definitely not be enough for me to play puppet for you. I'm not a broke person.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We got BK Finest says, Cooley, shout out to you. Cap can't debate, only preach false doctrine. Want to reply, Cap?
No, well, I expect this from your audience, but nobody can refute what I said in the Bible. I'm people were so emotional because everybody want to believe God loves everybody. If Christ coming back to take crowns, even in Jay's opening statement when he said the kings was coming to present gifts, he didn't tell you the violence behind it. In Isaiah 60th chapter, it says, the kings shall be thy nursing fathers. So the kings that were once ruling are now going to be the nursing fathers of the children of Israel. So how could that be for everybody? There's going to be one in the heavenly state, one in a punishing state. But the church will have you believe that just God loves everybody, and it's just not true. So
I thought violence was bad. You said violence was bad.
I don't know why. Again, the bitch nigga. This is why you're in the bitch nigga university. Because
you said violence was bad. Now it's good. Is violence good or bad?
It's not to you. And the white man is the last person that should ask whether violence should be bad or not. I would have not said anything if you could shut your mouth. This whole debate.
That's all he got.
As I'm being asked the question. Now, he didn't want to talk about the virgin birth because the bitch ran. But the bitch want to talk while I'm answering the super chat.
I just can't.
Let's talk about the virgin. Let's talk about the virgin birth.
You said violence was bad.
Let's talk about the virgin birth. Let's talk about the virgin birth.
Violence was bad.
You got time to interrupt, and you got time to talk about the virgin birth, right?
All right, Cap. All right, Cap and J. Cap and J. Cap and J. All right, let me get to the next super chat. Let me get to the next super chat. And also, while I'm reading these super chats, they may be posed to one of you. If someone's going to respond to it, I'll go ahead and allow, Cap. It's okay if Jay responds as well to you. And if there's a super chat, if there's a super chat directed towards Jay and he responds and you don't like his response, you can go ahead and then make a rebuttal to what he's saying as well. That's totally fine. It's still a debate currently, right? We got Rachel Wilson again. She says, hey guys, I can speak Japanese. Watch. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. We speak Japanese in she. Fair enough. We got let's see here. We got Yamaha sends in some cash. He says, this Cap can join the lot with Trump and Brian Shapiro. With T jumping, I think he meant Trump. Okay, T jumping Brian Shapiro. Oh, T jump. Oh, who's T jump?
One of the worst debates I ever had.
Oh, okay. T jump. Okay, so it's T jump and Brian Shapiro. Okay, fair enough. Let me see what else we got in here. We got let's see here. Where we at? $10 from ML Ross says, Jay, I'm the captain now. Dyer. Okay, all right. Let me see what else we got in here. We got T Waho. Okay. He says, okay, we are the sons of Adam, so we have all Adam's attributes, including a beginning. Jesus is the only begotten of God, meaning Jesus has all God's attributes, including no beginning and no end. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Let me see. Did I miss anything? We got Wick Kid. He says, hey, Captain, would you like some cheese with the wine and okay, let me read this again. Hey, Cap, would you like some cheese with the wine you were having while your feelings were taking over because of being called a name? Okay. And you reply to that, Cap, he's basicing that you were whining. Okay, fair enough. All right. Let me see what else we got in here. Trying to make sure we get to all of the bigger ones. Pause.
I gave up the pause game unless it was egregious.
For real? Yeah. We got Emma Legion. Man, I can't even read that name, but it says Q for Captain. Is Jesus, so question for Captain, is Jesus angelic being that was created, or second person of Godhead?
I would go with kind of both of them, meaning I don't know if I would say angelic, because he outranks the angels, so his power is greater than that. As far as the Godhead goes, in Colossians, we're all supposed to be a part of that Godhead. So the head of every woman is the man, the head of the man is Christ, the head of Christ is God. That's the Godhead. So Christ would be our head. Christ would be, if you go by rank, the Father or the Most High is number one, Christ is number two, then you would have the order after that. So that's how you actually look at it from a biblical standpoint.
Can I respond?
Yep.
In Hebrews 1, it says, to the Son, the Father says, your throne, O God, is forever and ever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of your kingdom. The Father is referring to the Son in this prophetic psalm as God. So fundamentally, again, we have a person who doesn't understand grammar and how words work. They don't always have one referent. They can refer to multiple things. Ironically, he even admitted this in his closing statement.
Can I say something to that? When you read the next
Sure.
verse, first of all, Hebrews 1:8 is a quotation of Psalms, the 45th chapter, in reference to David's throne, which is also the throne of God. So you can read how Solomon sat on the throne of the Lord in 1 Chronicles 29 and 23. But when you read the very next verse, it says, "Thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. Therefore, God, even thy God, hath anointed thee." As I said earlier, Psalms 82 says, "Ye are gods." God made Moses a god. So the subject is not about being called
Thank you
God.
for making my point.
The subject is about, is Jesus the Most High God when he is not? He has a God.
Again,
simple.
It's a both and. The Father is the Most High God, and he has the same nature as his Son, because Hebrews 1:8 is about Jesus. The argument in the chapter is that Jesus is above the angels because he created them. You cannot be a creature and not a creature if you are a divine person. You have to be the same nature as the one that you came from. So if he came from an eternal Father and he's not a creature, then he is God. You can't have half God.
Colossians 1:15 says, "Who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature." There is no creation for the Father, but there is a creation for the Son.
John 1 describes that as an eternal begetting.
He just said,
you don't even understand
Christ is not created. It says the firstborn of
you
every
understand that
creature.
Hebrews 1 is arguing
God
that he's
is not
created
created.
because he's a creature.
That's why he's the ancient of days,
firstborn
and the
son.
Son is not.
It doesn't
So
say
you
that he's a
can't
creature
say,
in
it
Colossians.
says the firstborn of
It does not
every
say he was
creature.
created in
It
Colossians.
says the
he's
firstborn of every
of the Father.
creature. The Father is not born, right?
Of course not.
Okay, then.
The Son
So if the
is.
Father is
That's
not
what picks him
born,
out.
then that means there's a time when the Son
No, it
was
doesn't.
not.
No,
If the
because
Son
John 1
the Son had to
elucidates
be
that there was
born,
never
right?
a time when he was
Did
not.
the Son had to be
John
born?
1 elucidates
Did the Son
that this
have to be
Okay.
born? It's just a simple question. Did the
John
Son
one-
Okay, fellas.
I just asked a simple question. You
Okay,
can say yes or
fellas.
Let me
no.
answer his question.
Yep. Jay, go ahead and answer his question.
Is
Right, so
did the Son
You asked
have
me a question, dude.
Captain,
Oh,
you asked the question. Just let him answer it.
Okay.
In John 1, we have in the entire chapter a discussion of what it means to be the firstborn, what it means to be the eternally begotten Son. You cannot have a time where you come to be if you are forever in the bosom of the Father, eternally begotten. So when you read John 1, is this guy possessed? Like, what are you even laughing
Is the
at?
Son born? If the Son is born and the Father is not born, then there's a time when it was the Father without the Son because the Son
It's
was
an
born. That's
eternal
common
begetting.
sense.
In John 1, it's an eternal
It
begetting.
doesn't say
Did you not hear what
eternal
I
beget.
said?
It doesn't say eternal begetting.
Yes, it does.
Where?
Yes, it does.
Where? Because in John 1:1 that you referenced, it says in the beginning.
I'm talking about after that. If you get later in the chapter.
Yeah, let me see. 14 says, "And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, as we beheld the glory as the only begotten of the Father, full of grace."
Right there.
Right, but
Who
saying
was always in the bosom
it
of the
says we
Father.
beheld the glory
Who
of
was always in the bosom of the Father.
where does it say the bosom?
There's no such thing as a created God.
Where does
You
it
think
say
there's created God?
Where does we say it? Okay, when God made Moses a God, didn't he create a God? Bah!
The word God has
Exodus
different
71, God
references,
said
as
to
I've been
Moses,
telling you this
behold,
whole
I have
time, you
made
idiot.
thee a God.
You are an
Did God
idiot. I've been
did
telling you. That's
God
my
create a
point this whole
God?
time.
Did God create a God?
The
Yes or
word
no?
God has multiple references.
Did
I've been
God,
telling you
you
this whole
said,
time.
you're telling me God can create a God? And I just gave a verse that God created
Verse,
a God.
I'm
Did
explaining
God
it to
Well,
you.
create
Cap,
Verse
that's
18.
equivocation, Cap.
It's
Why you helping
equivocation
him?
because
Why you helping him with equivocation?
Well,
You
it's not a
understand what
help. I'm trying to bridge the gap
he doesn't
of
know
the
what
There ain't
confusion.
no bridging of no gap. He
You
said
know what
God
equivocation is?
can't be created.
Can you tell me what
But there
equivocating
was a
means?
time when the
What does
Father
it mean to
was and the
equivocate?
Son. I don't know the definition. There's a time when
Exactly.
the Father
Exactly. So
was
you
and
don't.
the
You're not.
Son.
You don't know
But
grammar.
what I do know
Yeah,
is that it says Christ is the firstborn of all creation. So
Verse
yeah.
out of
18
all the
says,
creation
yeah,
of the Father, so out of
you
all the
understand?
creation of the
Listen,
Father, the Son is the first. Christ is the first. But the Father
John
is not
1
created.
is a
That means that
further
there's a time
elucidation.
that the
Shut
Father
up.
was not.
Good God, dude.
Now
Okay,
you
Cap.
get out your feelings. We can stop. If
No,
you
you're
can
good,
do
Cap.
it,
No, you're good. And this, I think this conversation currently right here that's happening is
remember, he
very
ran like a
important.
bitch.
So no, it's very important. So Cap, equivocation just simply means that, you're using the word God. You were speaking about one meaning of the word God, but
I
then
was
the
not.
reference that you made was a different meaning for God.
Well,
Like,
I
of
was
course,
not.
God isn't making Moses a God like himself. So go ahead,
Okay, so
Jay.
now wait. If I could just
Can I
respond
answer
to
his
you,
question?
Yeah.
Because I'm happy to address.
I just want to
Let's
respond to
have
you.
Jay answer.
Wait, no, that's not fair because
Okay, yeah, you can respond to me. I was just
You know how you
explaining
would
what
be a
it
better
meant.
debater?
Thank you, I appreciate it.
How you would be better at
Cooley,
this?
when you
You know how
say
you would be
when
better
you
at
say
this?
if I just want to respond to Cooley first, then you
I'm
can
gonna
say
help you out.
Wait, you can say that later. Let me just respond to Cooley. I was not making that equivocation. Because even when y'all call it an equivocation, that's under y'all's assumption.
Okay, guys.
I don't believe
Even.
that Christ was created as the Most High.
You didn't even
Y'all
know what
do.
the word meant, dude.
So
Okay.
when I make the
Cat,
reference,
let's yield the floor
why
to
can't
Jay
you said I
so
could
he can go
respond to
ahead
you,
and respond.
but you said I
Let
could
me tell you
respond
something.
to you.
I've been debating for 25
You
years.
said I could respond to you.
You are your own
No,
worst enemy in this.
Cap. It was Jay's time
But you
to just give
said
a
I could
reply, and then
respond
I'll
to
give
you,
it
though.
right back to you.
But you did just say I could respond to you.
God.
You're only doing
Yeah,
what
I
you
know.
said I could do.
I thought you were finished. Are you done responding to me or no?
No, it's not because he keeps
Okay,
talking.
I'm sorry. Okay, cool. You know what, Cap? Go ahead. Finish your response to me. It's
That's all
totally
I was
fine.
saying.
Yeah.
So when he made the statement that a God cannot be created, that's why I went to Moses. Had nothing to do with making an equivocation because I don't think there's nobody that compares to Christ, but I also don't think there's nobody that compares to the Most High God. Y'all believe that. So I wasn't making an equivocation. I was just showing him that God created a God. Psalms 82:6, ye are gods. God has created God, so he can't use that argument. I'm done now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not in the debate, Cap. I'm just literally telling you what happened. That is equivocation. But let's just have Jay reply. Go ahead, Jay.
What I argued was that a son comes from a father with the same nature. And so if you call the Son of God the Son of the Father, and he's eternally begotten, as I'm arguing John 1 says, then he cannot be a created God on that definition. Because if you have the same nature, if you come from, if you you have the same nature as your dad, so you come from him, you share that human nature. Well, Jesus as the Son of God, if he comes from the Father, he has to have the Father's nature. That's why in John 1 it says that the true light that came into the world, it says that the fullness of grace we have from him. Even through Moses there came the law, but grace came through Christ, the only begotten Son who is in the bosom of the Father. He has exegeted him, is the Greek word. So that means that if he's in the bosom of the Father when he's walking around on earth, then he's omnipresent. You can't have divine attributes and be a creature. The Son is divine, and that's why John 1 calls him God and Logos. The word God in John 1 is a reference to the divine nature that he shares with the Father. The word God that you're talking about in the Psalms, when it calls Moses God, proves my point I told you at the beginning that the word God can have different reference.
So,
Cap, go ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You actually died again by using the father-son analogy, because I agree with that. I have a father. I have the same
Then you
nature.
admit Jesus is not
This
created.
is what I'm saying, man. Why are you talking again?
Then you admit he's not created.
Why are you talking again? So I have a father. I can have the same nature as my father. But there was a time when I didn't exist and just Carl existed. You
Does
just
Jesus have the
died.
nature of
I
his
just want to
father?
finish. I just want to finish now.
Does Jesus
Because
have the nature
in
of his
the
father?
analogy that you gave, my father had me when he was like 27. So that means for 27 years, I did not exist.
You're a
And
creature,
then my
you idiot.
father-
It's an analogy.
And then my father
Bro, you can't. You're
impregnated my
78
mother,
IQ max.
and
78 IQ max.
and then my father impregnated my mother, and then I was born.
I don't need a biology lesson, you idiot. Do you
analogy,
understand?
you're
Is
the only
Jesus the
idiot.
son
I don't
of the
know why
Father?
you would use I don't know why you would use me having.
You don't even know what an analogy is.
Because that's
What's
the
the
whole
analogy?
point. The
What
point
is an analogy?
My point is,
What's an analogy?
there's a time when the Father existed and not the Son. Your counter to my argument was to say that I have a father and I have the same nature as my
Does Jesus
father.
have the Father's nature?
Which I agree.
Does Jesus
But
have
that
his
what
Father's
my
nature?
argument was not that Christ did not have the
Does
same
Jesus
nature.
have his Father's
My
nature?
argument was that the Father existed without the Son.
Was,
And your
does
analogy
Jesus have the
just
Father's
proved.
nature?
So now my question to you:
Does he have the Father's nature?
Did my Father exist without
You're
me?
a creature. It's an
Did my
analogy.
So then that's true.
It's an analogy,
So if
you
Christ
idiot.
is the firstborn of every creature and he's a creature, then
It
that
doesn't
means
say
that
he's a creature.
it says
It doesn't say he's
Colossians
a
1.
creature.
Colossians
John 1
1
shows he's not a
says-
creature, you idiot.
Colossians 1 says, who is the image of the invisible God, the
So he's not a
firstborn.
creature.
It says,
Does he have his Father's nature?
Does it call him the
Does
firstborn
he
of
have
every
his
creature?
Father's nature?
No. Does it call him?
So you won't
I never,
answer.
I,
Because
I,
this
I never
refutes you.
argued he doesn't
You won't
have
answer because this refutes you.
No problem. He has.
Does he have his Father's
I'm
nature?
going to answer the question.
Does he have his Father's nature?
Why you keep saying I'm going to answer?
Okay,
the
Jay, let him give him a chance to reply. Go
What is
ahead.
wrong with you?
He's not going to answer it.
I am going to answer it. I said
Does he have his Father's nature?
he has his Father's nature. But
Oh,
that
so he's
is not
uncreated.
the argument.
The Father's
Now,
nature is
I answered
uncreated.
your question.
You just refused yourself.
I answered your question. Does
Is God
Colossians
is
1
the Father
does
uncreated?
Colossians 1 and 15
Is the Father uncreated?
No, you can't ask. I asked my question first. So does
You just
Colossians
got
1 and
refuted.
15
You
call
just owned
him?
yourself.
Does Colossians
admitted
1
my
and
point.
15 call
You
him the
admitted my
firstborn?
point.
Why you can't answer the question?
Because
Does
you admitted my
Colossians
point.
1 and 15 call him
You
the
admitted he has his
firstborn
Father's
of
nature.
every
The Father's
creature?
uncreated.
Can you
just
answer
lost.
that question? Now, cool.
You
You're
just
not gonna make
lost.
him answer my
Okay,
question.
I got you. I got you.
lost,
Yep.
dummy.
Real quick. I think this is very important. Captain, I'm going to let you fully get everything out.
It's not
Jay
even that
asked the
long.
question. No. Jay asked the question. You did answer it, but then Jay asked a follow-up question. What's your answer to that follow? Jay,
Okay,
can you
so
repeat
what-
that follow-up
You
question?
admitted that he has his Father's nature. The
Mhm.
Father's uncreated. You just owned yourself.
He didn't. You say you didn't ask a question, so now go. He didn't
Go
answer.
ahead, Cap.
He just said I just owned myself.
Does he? If he has the Father's nature,
Mhm.
then is he not uncreated? Because the Father's nature is uncreated.
No, that's not true. Because
How?
even in the
How?
answer that I'm going to answer. So even in the analogy that you gave, my Father created me.
You're
have
a
my-
created nature. You
Why-
said
why-
God is
I-
uncreated.
listen, I want to like
You're a
even
creature.
now he doesn't.
I think
have
he's
enough
asking,
discipline.
is the Father's nature uncreated? That's the question, right, Jay?
Now that's three questions.
Is
That's
is
three
the
questions
Father's
now.
nature
Just answer it,
uncreated?
you idiot. Just answer it.
Is the
He can't.
Father's if the Father himself is not created? For the record,
Thank
there's
you.
nothing
And you
about
said
the
Jesus has his
there's
nature. You
nothing
lost.
about the
You
Father.
said the Son has his
that
nature.
is-
You
there's,
lost.
there's nothing about the Father that is created. That's why he's called.
And
the
you said the
Ancient
Son
of
has the
Days.
nature. You
But
just
as
lost.
he's called the Ancient of Days, so now I want to ask him
None
two
of that
questions
answered-
since he
you already
asked me
lost.
three, Cooley.
You're done.
He asked me
You're
three.
cooked.
I just want to
You
ask him
said
two.
you admitted he
Is that
has the
fair
same
enough,
nature.
Cooley?
You idiot.
Is that
Okay,
fair
Jay.
enough, Cooley?
Jay, let him go ahead and get his off real quick. Go ahead, Cap.
In Colossians,
And then we're gonna finish up with the super chats. Go ahead.
He just
In
goes back to
Colossians
the
1 and
verses which don't
15,
which don't have
does
nothing to do
it
with
call Christ a creature? Yes or no?
No.
For Colossians 1 and 15 says
You just admitted he's not a creature, you idiot.
So who is
You
the
admitted he's not a creature.
So once again, the
You
Bible
admitted he's not
who
a
is the
creature,
image?
dummy.
Who is the image of the
You
invisible
just
God?
admitted he's
I
not
got
a
3
creature,
questions
dummy.
too now, Cooley, because I didn't expect
done.
to have,
Okay,
have
yeah,
my follow-up. So I do have 3 like he had 3.
Hey,
Who is the
Jay, just
image-
let him
who is the
let him
image-
ask his questions real quick,
who is
Jay.
the image- who
He
is
just
the image
refuted
of-
himself.
I know, but Jay, just give him the time to let him ask his questions, and then you
Yeah,
just
I mean,
give your
he the
answers to
only
it. Go
one-
ahead,
he's the only
Cap.
one in
That
his
it's the
feelings.
same nature.
Who is the image of the invisible God? Is that not
The
Christ?
Son.
Yes or no?
Thus he's eternally.
Right.
The
So I want
Son.
my audience to
That
know
shows
before
he's
I
the
ask my
Son
third.
eternally, idiot.
Before I ask my third and final question, I want the audience to understand. He's saying Christ is not a creature, but the verse just said, "Who is the image of the invisible God," which he admitted was Jesus, and he calls that image of the invisible God a creature. My last question. In Daniel's the 7th chapter, it calls the Father the Ancient of Days. The Son of Man comes before the Father.
Yeah,
Is the
that's our view.
Is the Son of Man the Ancient of Days?
No, the Ancient of Days is the Father.
That's how you know there was a time that the Ancient of Days was just him, and the Father was not. Excuse me, and the Son was not. If the Father is the Ancient of Days and the Son of Man is coming to the Ancient of Days, then that means the Son has to be created to be presented to the Ancient of Days. He just died.
No, that's his
You go to
ascension. That's a
I'm
prediction.
Cool. You can go to the
That's
super
the
chat.
prediction of the ascension and his session
Cool.
to the Father when he
Cool,
ascended in the book of Revelation.
Yeah,
It's the
man,
same
you
passage
died.
in Daniel to the book of Revelation when he ascended and walked to the Father. Daniel is seeing what's happening in Revelation. It's the same passage.
Okay. All right. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick. We have Johnny McVito sending in $20. Man, I appreciate the support, brother. He says, to Cap, in the Bible, blasphemy is defined as irreverent, slanderous speech or action against God, his name, or the Holy Spirit. You have a false interpretation of Scripture. Do you not worry about your soul regarding Jesus? Question.
I don't believe that blaspheming is what he said. Blaspheming, when he said blaspheming, that's when the Pharisees said that he cast out demons by the prince of demons. And Christ said, a house divided cannot stand. And then he said, blaspheming the Holy Spirit shall not be forgiven, because when you see a miracle and you credit it to anybody except the Holy Spirit, that's blaspheming. So I have not blasphemed.
Okay.
No, this person is so in delusion. He has no idea what he's talking about.
All right. We got Antisocial sending in $20. Man, I highly appreciate everyone donating to the channel tonight. I guess you guys are enjoying this spirited debate. He says, Lieutenant Dango got beat. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. I'm not even sure that's a reference to. We got Grits Carlton sends in $20. Appreciate the support, man. He says, Cap, to help you understand with an analogy, Cooley is properly black. You are generally black. Okay, fair enough. All right. You want to reply to that, Cap? All right. Let's see. All right, man. I think we appreciate all of the support, but we're getting a lot of super chats that's under 20. They're popping up. So, hey, man, fellas, I do appreciate both of you for coming out and joining us all, thousands of people that's watching this in this debate. And yeah, man, until next time. Go ahead and subscribe to Jay Dyer. He's tagged. Go ahead and subscribe to Captain Tazaryach. He's also tagged. If you went ahead and you like Captain's position, give him a follow. Subscribe to him. If you like Jay, go ahead, give him a follow. Subscribe to him. But without further ado, this podcast is No Fugazi, and peace. We are out.
No fugazi. Fugazi.
And y'all see the suit too, man. Listen, new studio, new podcast by the spirit, not by the letter. Bro, we can go verse for verse all day long. Doing new things. Are okay with understanding the reality that we are in competition with one another. But you ladies think that you're special. We are in comfort. Men are men of their word. So here's my word. I'll fly you out here and we can do it in person. And after that, we can box. I'm about my business. So remember, I said, when I ask you these questions, I will dismantle your entire argument. That's the end of the debate, my dog.
I'm 39, but I don't look your typical 39.
Belly.
Yeah.
You look 39. It's okay.
Shut
though. That man isn't intimidated by a woman like you. He's annoyed by a woman like you. Because a man doesn't want to date another man. He wants to date a woman. right, we wrap. Oh, Cap, you still back here, man?
Oh, I was trying to be respectful to the joint. Hey, check your no problem. Check your IG. I was saying earlier you ain't never invite me to the joint because you in Jersey, like, oh, I think you right outside of Jersey, right? Okay, so maybe sometime in April, we can link up in person. I know we spoke about it before, so maybe we can link up in person. Right. Mhm. Okay. I thought I had your number, because I think we spoke on the phone before. I'm gonna see if I have it or not, and then go from there. But yeah, you said hit your personal page up, so I'll hit that up next. That's what I'm talking about. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No sweat. Nah, when you go back and watch it, I think. Yeah, I'm listening. Mhm.
Trying to keep count of everything, doing my best because a lot was going
Right.
on, and also managing the chat and everything too. But I heard that, and then when he said idiot, then I'm like, okay, he, I like that. That's even. I'm guessing. So that's how
Right.
I
No,
had it. It
yeah.
was like
So
even. It was
yeah,
like
when
one
you
strike for one
mhm.
strike.
No, I get it. So if you didn't hear it, I can't tell you what you heard or
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
hear.
I
But
didn't
he
hear
was saying,
because
yeah, he
I
was saying
would
it
have
from the
if he
beginning.
would have just said idiot, and then you would have replied how you replied and was like, "Coolly, come on out." I would have been like, "Jay, you did start it," but from what I heard you say like the white. You said white something. Yeah.
Right. No, I did. And so that was like after like the fourth idiot. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was
ain't
like,
even.
man, god damn, man. So then
You
I
know
just
what?
left
I ain't
though.
even.
But yeah, but ain't no sweat, man. I do appreciate it, man. And I'm gonna definitely hit you up. And then maybe in April or May we can link up for that because that's a different, so I don't like I'm going to Vegas Sunday. I'm gonna sit with that cat 607 Unk. So I
Okay.
do
Yeah. Yeah.
debates,
Yeah.
but I do stuff outside of that as well. So, we could do that. I think that'd be dope.
Yeah. Bet. And I'm also trying to do like some in person debate. So if I could
Yeah, definitely. Yep,
set up
I'll
like an
gladly
in
do that.
person debate
Yep.
with you and maybe another
Christian,
what is it?
Muslim,
A
yeah,
Christian
Muslim, yeah,
apologetic,
apologetic, yeah, definitely.
because that ain't me. I can't like I'm not the scholar and stuff. Me and you spoke
Yeah.
before. I
Right,
even
right,
yelled and say, "Listen, bro, I don't know really. I'm not. I don't know the Bible verbatimly and
right.
stuff like that."
I could even
Um,
find some people if you want. I could probably find some Muslims that might be good. You give me the what you're trying to do, how you want to do it. I could probably get some people to
yeah. If you have any that you want to debate, you can always just send me their name. I'll go
mhm.
ahead and reach out or have my assistant reach out to them so we can try to do exactly what we did today.
Right. All right, no sweat, man. All right, you take care.
And also, if they're local, like around like an
Yeah, that's what I want to
hour
look
and a
for.
half, we
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
it in person
Yeah, that's
at
what
my
I'm looking
studio, which would be
for.
fire.
That's what I'm talking about. Doing it in person, like finding somebody local and then doing it that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we
All
could
right,
definitely do that.
all right, no sweat.
All
Take
right,
care,
man.
man.
Have a blessed one, man.
I don't know why. I'm gonna just turn my camera off. Um, I just turned my camera off because I don't know why it's frozen like that, but I believe y'all can hear me. I do appreciate y'all rocking with me. Just so y'all know, when I do these debates, I do this for y'all. I do not understand this super chat though. This super chat that says cap one, oh, cap one, the fact you paid and lied is sad and you cheat. I don't know what that super chat to Glee team. I don't understand the super chat. I appreciate it, but I don't understand it. I did the other ones. This one said Cap got capped. Shout out to him for the super chat. We definitely appreciate your little funky ass $2. Jay Bird again, 4.99. Jay Bird, we was kings. Appreciate that. to JD, according to Romans 1 and 7 and 71, who is Paul talking to? So let me look at Romans 1 and 7. In Romans 1 and 7, it says, to all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints. So let me show you something here so you could know who he was talking to. All right. Because I'm such a good sport. So let me come over here. We're going to go here. We're going to share the screen. We're going to put it on the screen. I don't know if I can make this bigger. Let me see if I can make this bigger. But when you're looking at it, it says all that are called to be saints. So that's who it's written to. It's written to all that are called to be saints. And the only people that were called to be saints were Israelites. It says, Cap, Cooney is doing this on purpose to get you to rage quit. Yes, I knew that. He was trying to get me to rage quit. Question for Cap. What do you see in Malachi 1 and 11? And do you burn incense to God and have an altar? Hebrews 3 and 10. In Malachi 1 and 11, it says, let me see. For from the rising of the sun, even going down to the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles, and every place incense shall be offered unto my name. So when it's talking about that, that's the every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. That's Isaiah the 2nd chapter. Every nation will obey, and his name will be great, but it'll be great under the rulership of the children of Israel. All right. Cap debating Lieutenant Dango from Reno 911. Before I go, all right, if y'all don't know who Lieutenant Dango is, let me show y'all who Lieutenant Dango is. And shout out to Go. You right. They only know white theology. They don't know the Bible. So I'm gonna take this picture. I'm gonna show y'all who. Oh, let me just Google it. I could just Google it. Let me slide this over here. This was his source that he pulled up. Let's do. Where's this? Let me spell the name right. Let me see. Dangle Reno 911. Y'all want to see Dangle? Wait, let me get the horrible picture of Dango. This is Dango. Y'all see this? Oh, it's gonna show the damn thing. I wasn't looking for it. Let me go to images here. This is Dango. That's him. Let me see if I can get another. This is that's Lieutenant Dango. That's who y'all said he was. That's Lieutenant Dango right there, y'all. That's who that was. In case y'all don't know, that's Lieutenant Dango. All right, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I'm about to roll. So until next time, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shabbat Katham, Yahweh Shema Thumb Bashim Yahweh Shah.